got a car off on black. I figured we'd bring us a quick GRC races. We had such a great turnout for tonight. So we got plenty of track marshals tonight, and we got a bunch of guys wanting to run the dual GRC race tonight. We see Randy Kirtley out in the lead right now with 3 laps. Guillermo Sire in second place with 3 laps. Jay Latham in third. Bruce Bullington in fourth. Gerald in fifth. Just got swapped up with Bo and Connor and Sam towards the back of the track. So we see these guys racing. They're a little bit easier to follow than the Fairview IT Cup Series races. We get a big wad up there on the front stretch coming around the final corner. Looks like it's possibly, looks like maybe Sam's car there involved in that. Guys opted tonight to not have glue ran on the track. It's me and Randy Kirtley, my dad, as I like to call him, fix the donut of the track here. See if we can get a little bit better picture here. So you can see in the top left corner up there by my wife in the donut, we've actually lifted that track. If you look at the bridge on the right side going inside the bridge, we've lifted that track all the way to the bottom there to kind of flatten that out to help people out a little bit. So that should help transition into the donut of the track just a hair bit better. Got looks like a car there, Jay's car on white. Michael Hazel there, a friend of ours, helping out, getting that car back on track. So we head back green here. A little bit of a cluster there, a little bit of a rub there Jay gave to, I think maybe Guillermo, possibly Bruce. This being the first heat and all, it's really anybody's game of how close it's going to get. We still got several heats to go. 10 total tonight. On deck we got a newcomer, came with Sam, Dalton Ian. I don't know what his last name is. Haven't got to talk to him much. Just earlier, just lining him out on this thing that Guillermo gave us. He gave us a little push button with lead wires so that we don't have to step under the track to kill the track. So we appreciate Guillermo for that. Guillermo been with us since the basement days, and I'll tell you what, he really does help out. All right, see you, Mike. So these guys so far really running competitively here, and it looks like the donut, everybody's faring a whole lot better in the donut section there. Not as many coming off as we've lowered that angle. Looks like we're possibly having some issues here at the track. That track button stopped working? Oh, okay. Everybody pretty much on 19 laps. Very, very close race so far. Randy Kirtley, a veteran of this orange track, the creator of this orange track, so we expect nothing less than the best out of him on this track. And it might be just a small amount of learning curve. We'll see Connor there working on his car on yellow, trying to get it to run pretty well. See Bo McPherson getting his car put back there on purple. We got a car here slanted. It looks to be Bruce Bullington's car on blue. I think he'll pull out on the high banks. And Bruce pulls out on the high banks, leading the way there on blue. A pretty close front runner there. Bruce currently turning in 19 laps as he almost gets past there on the outside on yellow. A little bit of a love tap given by Bruce as Connor tried to get him on the outside of yellow, running deep. Got to respect the effort there by Connor as he tried to get up on the outside, but sometimes you got to know when to hold him. As we see there on green, Sam Nelson coming off just there, Tom Payton getting him back on. Randy Kirtley currently still in the lead with 24 laps, 25 now. So we go back in and we get a track call out there. Looks like they got the track cut just in the nick of time for a big car explosion took place. Mike was able to get him back on. Now we got Jay Latham down there slanted in the high banks. And his car was able to make it also. We got a car dead there. Looks to be in the dead zone on blue, and we get a red flag call there. Bruce Bullington losing a little bit of time there. Can be made up, though, for sure, as we go to the track mate here, and we see that Randy Curtley out in the lead currently with 27 laps. Guillermo close behind with 25. Yet, almost everybody else in the pack, it seems, with 24 laps. Whether this is due to the new track change to help keep the cars on, it could be a benefit to some. Maybe guys got used to it so much that it's actually hurting them now. Who knows? I don't know. But right now, it looks, just by the numbers of this first round heat, it looks as if people are a whole lot closer together. Just wanted to make that a little bit bigger. We got a minute and 45 seconds left to go. Let's go check our new parking camera. A little bit of a dreary day here in Livermore. As you can see in the main area, I left it orange. I like to leave it orange looking in here on a dreary day. Kind of make it feel a little bit more warm, a little more inviting. So we go to our first camera here, the old faithful camera. You guys can kind of finally see that somebody was able to get up there and put some lights in that final section. And yeah, I guess while I was doing that, maybe we knocked that old cobweb out that we used to see. Let's go to the oval cam. Maybe you can see these guys working a little bit over there in the top right of your monitor there, and see them working hard on their cars. I was just informed, I forgot, we need to tell setouts to have their cars up here, not working on them during the lane rotation. We see old Bruce back there. So far, Bruce has been running quite a good GRC game as of late, and he is for sure not giving in to the other way tonight, as he is also running a pretty competitive race with everybody else right now. Almost everybody is running for third place, it seems, right now. 5 seconds before the race starts. See a frantic move of people trying to get back over there. Bruce actually just got one of our new controllers from DeFalco tonight, one of the 201s, so he's got a little bit of a learning curve there with the new controller and all, as he was running the Neo 17. We see Bruce's car there. We get another track call there on the back stretch by Guillermo. There for a second, I thought we was having issues with the track there. Bruce Bullington there on purple, running consecutively clean and fast laps. As you see him reeling in Bo there on black, both of them running competitively with one another. So we see Bruce able to take that as we get another track call by Guillermo. Possibly Guillermo might on the upper lanes. Yeah, he's in one of the danger lanes. Guillermo is on green lane, which are red, green, and white lanes. Tend to be pretty aggressive on the backstretch, as most people need to blip just a little bit on those lanes. As we head back green here, maybe keep an eye on that green car and see if it maybe pops out again on the backstretch. About where Bo's at is where it usually comes off. So we get another yellow flag call. Guillermo having a little bit of an issue again with his car, possibly bent now after taking such a slam there in the high banks. hard hit just then. I don't know whose car that was, but it was full throttle, it seemed. Quite a bit of things happening here. So we get another car off of red, it seems. Dalton, possibly. Maybe issue happening with the kill switch, or maybe double tapping it possibly. To be honest, I can't remember if I turned the switches off of the track or not. I think I had them off from last race, but you see Connor there getting his car, trying to get it put back on. In orange, he gets it back on. It looks like possibly Dalton there running a little bit slower on red lane, trying to get through the S turns. Red lane just had a little bit of work done to it. About 45 minutes before the track started, right there in the S turn, had to do a little bit of work as it was catching some of the guide flags. So we got too hard of an acceleration there coming out of that track there is the reason that wreck took place in the exit of the corner there. Gerald Suttle chasing Randy Kirtley down. Got him within a lap there. Bruce Willington also right there on the heels for your top three. Run a track mate to see just how good these guys are turning. Lap-wise, we see Randy Kirtley there with 27 on orange, pretty impressive. Connor there with 23. 26 laps impressively turned by Gerald there. Also, see everybody heading to their pit lanes, getting a little bit of work done on their cars as the set outs go in and the others come out. As we get back to going green, you can see the two set outs for tonight are here in the front window here. As pretty much where my wife is standing there is where I am in the booth at. It's pretty close to the track. You can see the guys getting ready as they're out heading out to get to their respective lanes. We got 5 seconds before the lane starts, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys that's how things are done here if we have more than 8 people. You see Jay Latham with the Guillermo Saar track killer. We appreciate Guillermo for that. Back in the booth, just want to thank Gabriel's friend Lonnie, the guy that put in our heating and air. I had to take my jacket off as I was getting quite warm. Looks like I got my collar popped up a little bit there. Get that fixed. So get a hard hit, it seems, there underneath the bridge. While I was out there a while ago showing you guys some things with the travel camera, I noticed that a few of the guys were saying they were having some issues with their brakes. One thing I will iterate here is that, see, Sam got a brake out there with the black on his name, but that means he had a rider. But one thing that I'll reiterate, as I've done many a times, is if you do not let fully off of the track or off of the controller, you won't get any brake whatsoever. What a coast we just seen there by Bruce Bullington's car. He's really got that car freed up to be able to take such a coast. We had a very impressive night last night with our new software for the drag strip. We're finally starting to get things tuned in with the drag strip and getting everybody pleased with the way that they're running. A few guys buying some hopped up motors for their drag cars, running pretty consistent times doing that also. So anytime on Saturdays, usually starts around 6:30. Sometimes we start a little early, sometimes we start a little late. And also on Wednesdays, we have half off track time and a drag race at 6:15. But the turnout's been pretty good, and the guys and gals have really been enjoying themselves and really working hard on their cars. As I've been highly impressed with some of the elapsed times I've been seeing. Some of them were in the fives at some point and running consistently at about 6:3. Which is good for our track, is we have a short shutdown, but a friend of ours, Milton Gamble, out of Tennessee, he come down and helped us out with the track a little bit and told us to start just a little bit of lighter glue in front of the heavy glue, and that helps a lot keeping them in the lanes whenever they end up stopping at the end of the track. And what a difference that has really made is once we started doing that, we've had hardly any issues whatsoever with people coming out. We still get a few people coming out, especially some of the faster ones, as the wheelie bars are not exactly set the way that they need to be perfectly, or we have braid issues where people's braids are a little high. And like I said, most of our drag racers here are still yet beginners and just routine maintenance of the car. Sometimes slips the mind, which is to be expected, as every racer that gets started has some of those issues. But like I said, it's starting to sink into the minds. I'm starting to see more and more clean passes as we go, and it's really been something to see. So last night we ran it for the first time, me and my wife. We ran it in here in the shop, which really freed up room for us. I didn't have to deal with that little portable keyboard that I was used to doing. And it's been set that way for quite some time. It's just that I've never really ventured out and went out there to actually put it on the laptop and do that. But we see Guillermo currently in first place. If you're wondering why Randy dropped down almost 3 positions from the end, it's because he's on a set out right now. But if we look at Guillermo and Randy Kirtley's average times, we can see they're right up each other with 25.5 of Randy Kirtley and 25 of Guillermo. So Randy Kirtley being able to edge him out just by about 0.5 laps. But we can see everybody else, 24.7, 24 laps between Gerald and Bruce, both running very impressive cars. Also, Sam Nelson with 23. That car has really picked up the average time also this week. Bo and Connor. Bo about to get out of the 22s and be in the 23s. Connor hasn't been here in a while. Probably still getting back in the swing of things with his 22. We got 1 minute and 43 seconds left to go. So we're going to rotate over to the oval cam and see what these guys are doing to keep their cars in shape as I take a small break. All right, 1 second as we head back to go live. I appreciate the love symbol sent our way. If you want to, we get a track called Really Loud by Sam Nelson. As Sam there on black, his car not currently moving there in the upper back stretch of the track. Looks like Gerald helped him out there, gave him a little bit of a push. See Dalton there. Thank you for that love floating across the screen. I appreciate that. See Randy Kirtley there at the bridge. That is the man, the myth, the legend, also known as Octopus Arms. When it comes to putting cars back on, this man does it with style. But not only that, he is also the man that Hulk Hogan'd the donut track while I laid up underneath it to get it leveled out yesterday. So we spent quite a bit of time fixing this track and the green track. If you look there to the green track to the left of you, you can see how that the backstretch there is a little bit higher up in the air, as we did that to straighten out some issues that we've had a few guys talking about coming out, popping out, ramping off in the front stretch of the track. And I'll tell you what, it almost makes it where the cars don't come off. But maybe that's what everybody was wanting. So now it's almost like we got 2 banked corners in the circle track. Let's just take a quick look over there at the oval track, see if you can tell the difference. If you look in the top right corner of this track up here, you can see how it's a lot more level there, but it's matching the banking of the backstretch now, whereas before it was more flat. So we got a little bit of a banking there, which ends up in turn coming into the front stretch of the track on the final corner. It brings that part of the track down lower, which matches up exiting Dead Man's Corner there. You can see it's perfectly flat coming out of there across the start-finish line, which I do believe is going to help things substantially, because I've ran on all the lanes and we hardly have any kind of slop in the car going around that Dead Man's Corner now. But currently, Guillermo Sauer in the lead. As we get another car there off on black, and one of them ramps off of that car as Randy goes to put them behind the start-finish line there. The green car, I believe, of Sam Nelson's. Yep, Sam's on black lane as we see the red car, I believe, of Guillermo Sauer going to get put back on purple. Guillermo's car having somewhat of some issues currently, coming off the track, slipping off a little bit. And he's coming there off on blue, which is kind of abnormal a little bit. A few of the guys tonight, I believe, Bo McPherson and Bruce Bullington, getting a little low on their tires as they got this race left before they have to swap tires as they're starting to get to the point to where the tech tool won't go under it. It barely gets under there, so we let it slide. Because the whole purpose of that is basically so people don't tear up the track. And I think they're good enough to where that ain't going to take place. But they are definitely getting close when it comes to wear. But these guys are constantly wearing them tires out here at Lanes Raceway, which we like to see. These are also some of the guys that are saying, hey, these are the issues with the track. Now, how can I say that those are not the issues with the track whenever I'm not hardly out there racing as much as they are? So we take that into consideration, and like I said, we try to fix it. Like for instance, last week, Michael Hazlett and his family, they came in and really helped us out getting started. They got a bunch of drag cars, and we keep coming off on the track, and I want to figure it out, you know. So anyways, me and Michael, we went out there where the track is right there by the window behind Bruce and them. You can see on your screen. The track was buckled up from where we had over-tightened it when we first started, and the hot and the cold and the hot and the cold of the weather had eventually just kind of buckled it up like that. So on the right, the right lane, or the left lane if you're actually drag racing, the left lane of the drag strip there closest to the window actually had a little bit of a hump in it. So we loosened that up, me and him, and once we got it straight, then we've had hardly any issues whatsoever since then. As we go to the track mate here, just to compare a little bit of the times here, we see Guillermo with a even total laps of 100. Following closely behind him is Gerald Suttle, also known as Wolfman here, with 24.5 average laps, 24.2 average laps of Bruce Bullington, right nipping on the toes of Gerald. It's really coming down to some really, really close racing. I mean, really, it's anybody's game from 7th up, as these guys are racing really hard. Now, a few of these guys are setting out. Randy Kirtley, I believe Jay Latham's setting out. And that's a lot of the reason why you're not seeing these things change. But so the set outs are 2. It looks like Connor will be going in next heat, not this heat currently. But that's why I was showing you guys earlier. We keep the cars up in here so the guys don't work on their cars while the race is actually going on, because that's not fair to everybody else. Well, whenever they're track marshaling too, they're not supposed to be working on their cars. They're supposed to, because you're only supposed to have 8 heats. So if you got 8 heats, so we go here to, well, I'm in the wrong screen, forgive me for that. As we go here and we see them all in the pits working on their cars and stuff, there's in the top left by the American flag, there should be 2 cars there. Let me see if there is.
Hey, I'm missing somebody's car up in this window.
Okay. So right now, as we got the 3 minutes left to go, these guys are fixing to get back and ready to go. It's like I said, Connor could be on deck coming up next. We see Bo McPherson coming back, bringing his car to the pits. He's been working diligently on his car for the past couple of weeks, and he's got it really running smooth and nice. We'll head back over as we see people heading over to the orange section here. We see Guillermo rounding around here, the man, the myth, the legend. He's the guy that engineered the track button you seen Jay Latham earlier holding. That does help quite a bit for us, as we don't have to squat down there and hit those pinball buttons anymore. We just hook that up to the same thing that the pinball buttons the wires are sorted into, and that kind of crosses in between it. It's still the same principle. As we get ready to go back green, Randy Kirtley's back in on red, so we're going to start seeing him come up a little Bo McPherson on white, so he'll be going out after this heat. We see Guillermo there with 101 laps on black heading his way back up. So we get a track call as somebody came all the way up on red lane with Randy. Randy Kirtley in the backstretch full throttle. So as you can tell, that did not end well for that said car. I couldn't get a really good view on the car to see who was in that lane, but maybe you guys did. We get another track call and a cluster up in between the bridge. Connor's probably going to have to put at least a car or two back on. So when the track gets cut off, all brakes are lost. As there's no power on the track, a huge coast could take place. We get another hard hit there, and a car comes completely off the track there on the front stretch right before the start-finish line. Connor, in his athleticism, just straight diving underneath the track to grab that car. We respect that kind of activity. As he gets his car put back on there on white of Bo McPherson. Bo possibly forgetting to blip there on the track. Six laps turned by Guillermo Sauer with 106 total. Bruce Bullington now nipping real hard at the heels of Guillermo as he's getting him within firing range, and a great coast there by Bo McPherson on the high banks of the track. Randy Kirtley just back in this heat on red, currently turning the most laps, as his aggressive racing style there on red is somewhat unmatched, as we hear a hard thump of a car, what seemed to be underneath the bridge, but maybe possibly on the donut of the track there. We see Connor messing with the car. I believe it was under the bridge. We Tom putting the car back on, but that car, just from my ears, it sounded like it almost came a high-speed come-apart, full part yard sale. We see Bo there now blipping on white. Really, really good idea for his car just to get that small little blip, as we've seen that this car is evidently carrying enough speed that it is actually buck jumping off of the small dip there by Guillermo Sauer on black lane. Guillermo been with us, like I said, since the basement days, and very good competition comes out of Guillermo. That's the kind of stuff that Randy Kirtley looks for, I look for. Looks like Bruce Bullington's one to be looking for that also tonight, as he's trying to reel him in. As old Quick Hands Tom, also known as Slimer here at the track, hurries up and gets those cars back on, and we're halfway through the heat with 1 minute and 3 seconds left to go. As the cars of red and white just whip by there for a second. Also, green lane, that'd be Jay Latham, Randy Kirtley, and Bo McPherson. Very smooth sounding cars, as we get another hard hit from a car there. I don't know whose car that was that hit so hard, but man, that thing hit full speed, it seemed. out there and took a quick look at a car. As we got 10 seconds left to go, Bo McPherson will be setting out this next heat, as he's so far turned 102 laps, worried about whether or not his car could continue on this orange track, as he's carrying quite a bit of speed with that car as it causes issues there on the back stretch. So he brought her on in. I took a quick look at it, as Bo's somewhat new to this racing, as I like to take a look at some of the guys' cars, especially if they need some assistance whatsoever with their cars. But still yet, I took a look at his car, and he had a little bit of a loose guide flag, had a little bit of up and down plays, not something that you really wanted to see. So he turned 10 laps there on white, so about 14 laps it looks less than what everybody else is. So even though he set the rest of that heat out, probably not going to hurt him substantially on the orange track, as the orange track total laps are not something that is completely out of control. Bo, I gotta know, man, what's going on out there?
I don't really know. Just went out and get sent into the wall side, pulled it off for the white track.
So you pulled it off of the white track. Are you going to get back in on red and give her another go?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay, so if you start coming off on red, you do know to blip it a little bit, I've noticed there on white lane. But at the first of the heat, I noticed that you were trying to go full bar. Your car is pretty much freed up, as I seen going around the high banks of the track, and that car is pretty quick. Do you think that has anything to do with why it's coming off on the back?
Maybe a little bit.
Sorry, I just jammed that microphone right up in your chin. What do you have to say about it, Tom?
He could be doing better. I've seen him race better than this.
Well, Tom will give you encouragement for sure, Bo, I'm sure. Gerald Wolf, man, I gotta have a word with you, man. So tonight, I've noticed your car is really flying out there, running for second position, second, third, first. You're trying to get old Guillermo and reel him in. You got him within your sights?
Either that or something's gonna happen. You better don't watch me.
All right. Well, you heard it. Watch him as he's out there trying to give it everything he's got. Right now, currently, the man, the myth, the legend, Guillermo Sauer, the guy that brought us our new track-killing button here. Guillermo, how's that car working out for you today?
Well, not the best, but I guess everybody gets into the same trouble. Get caught under the bridge, under the donut.
Well, Guillermo, I'll tell you what, you got her going on. Also, Randy Kirtley here back in the mix. Are you a little bit afraid of Kirtley getting back in the mix?
Trying to beat Randy, yeah.
Well, I know you two are old timers of the old basement days of the orange track. You guys are something to see, sure. 5 seconds, we'll be going back green racing as you see everybody lining their cars up, trying to get back as possible. Our track marshals are going to go to help, and I'll see you back in the booth. So already got a flag called on the field. It looks like Bruce Bullington's car there. Tom Payton getting him back on. Bruce Bullington getting his car back on. Also another freed up car there. Bruce Bullington's car really running quite clean tonight, as we've seen. Tom Payton giving that right tire of the car there in the track to keep it from sliding down. Thank you, Alicia. Alicia says that she loves the interviews. It's great. My brother, of course, he set all this stuff up, and he just recently got the iPad to be able to work really, really well with it. It's, you know, we tried to do this before with the laptop, but we was unsuccessful in getting that to happen. But I appreciate the comment. We see newcomer there, Dalton there on the black lane there. Not too bad for a first time, so he's staying there with Robert Whitaker. Robert hasn't been here in a few months, but Robert Whitaker, known for racing slot cars here for sure. He's also in our Pro Series NASCAR, but he's been touring all over the country doing motocross and stuff like that. So he hasn't had a whole lot of slot car time, which I told him, I said, I can't hardly blame you if, if you're out there doing that kind of racing and stuff. Of course, the adrenaline is on another level versus what slot cars offers, but, slot cars does offer some pretty good adrenaline. It also offers a little bit of butterflies, especially right before the race. Everybody's fingers, I guess, maybe possibly gets a little sweaty. Who knows? So you see the car there on red lane, Connor's car, a little bit out of control on the high banks, but he was able to correct that pretty with ease. We get two cars wadded up there on the exit into the backstretch. Robert Whitaker and Connor getting into contact with each other across the map. I've lost my Mountain Dew. Don't know where to find it. So we get a little bit of a love touch there from yellow, giving a little love touch to purple. Robert Whitaker coming off, but got him a good coast there in the backstretch at least. Sounds like my streaming computer is about to come a high-speed come apart down here. So I'm getting a little bit of vibration from one of the fans. Hopefully this thing don't blow up on me. I'm gonna take a quick look and make sure the CPU ain't overheating. All right, we're good. I'm gonna leave a door open there. Maybe let some cool air in. Let her breathe a little bit. See my wife doing something crazy out there on the donuts. Looks like she was waving at somebody. Maybe slapping a ooh, we get a car come off there in the high banks. Maybe there's something going on there in the high banks. I don't know. As we've had several cars just loosely come off there, the track there, right at the exit of the high banks. Maybe the cutting of the tracks making them lose their brake, and they're popping out a little bit. I don't know, but it's kind of a new trend that is developing here. But it's just like anything. If you move one thing, something else moves, and you know the whole deal. I'm not going to get into a big bunch of science with you, but nonetheless, we see these yet again. It seemed, I believe that might have been in the blipping area, so maybe Connor needs to do a little bit more blipping when he comes around there by where Dalton is. But I did get a catch it that time. At least it didn't hit the wall. So yeah, he's coming through there full speed. So he's just going to have to watch that, as his car is evidently able to turn enough speed on green lane to get unsettled there by Dalton in the white shirt, next to Robert Whitaker in the blue shirt. Let's see Bo McPherson and my wife getting these cars back on in a timely fashion. I'm really enjoying this button. I'm just super enjoying this button for our track marshals. It makes life so much easier. So we see Bo McPherson, one hand free, one hand on the button. He's able to just slap those cars in there. It's with a car off on the back stretch. That looks to be Guillermo Sar's red car. So he gets, well, I guess that was Dalton's car. So Dalton's got him a red car too. Dalton there on black. So we get a red flag rotation. We'll take a quick look here at the track mate. And as we can see, Guillermo's still holding on to that lead with 25 laps average. Jay Latham with 25.2, so it's going to be, before it's all said and done, very, very close race between the two. So we see 26.2 laps average of Randy Kirtley. He's going to start climbing that field very, very quickly, as he still has 4 heats left to go. Guillermo has 2 left to go. Jay Latham also has 4. So if Jay keeps up the pace that he is keeping right now currently, he should have a safe position in second place, followed by Guillermo. But that's if all things work out, and that's just the current data that we have currently right now. We also see newcomer Dalton with 77 laps with an average of 15.4. Not too bad for a first time out, for sure. Robert Whitaker getting back in the swing of things with 21.8. So a minute and 45 seconds left to go. We're going to take a small little break here, and we'll see you in a moment. 3 seconds left to go before we go racing. Man, we see people in a hurry to get to the track as quick as they can. Hopefully they can get there in time. I've noticed the last time I did a stream, this main microphone I have in here with a wire, I got a wire that I'm going to have come that I can replace this out. This wire is very, very long. As we get a track call there from Sam. Sam's going to get his car put back on. But this wire, I think, is giving us some sort of feedback. As every time I have it turned on, it kind of sounds like there's a lot of air or something like that. That is not the case. But for some reason or another, something's going on. So I get the wire changed out. Maybe it's possibly the microphone too. If it is, I'll get another microphone. They're very cheap microphones. I didn't spend a whole lot on them, but they're pretty decent when they work. It's just when they take a lot of hits, they tend to tear up a little bit. Ooh, did you see all those cars going to the bridge at the same time and they all made it out? That was a thing to see. As we see that happen 2 times in a row, all these guys really racing as hard as they can. Median lap time so far, the fastest that we see is Guillermo Sauer with 4.63 median. The fastest lap time that we see currently is Randy Kirkley with 4.291 on blue. Like I said, Randy Kirkley is going to start climbing, and so is Jay Latham. From the last TrackMate information that we were able to see, these guys still have 4 heats left to go, so we're going to start seeing them climb as everybody else is going to start falling down. We see Gerald Suttle back in on red lane, also another fast runner. So it's be interesting to see what kind of laps he turns on red lane in comparison to the other racers that have already set out. So we see really good lane changes here as we see Gerald coming out nice and clean on that red lane, running neck and neck with Sam. As Sam gave him just a little bit of a love touch there in the S turn, but quickly put on by Octopus Arms 2.0. As we get a track call, but it's a little too far too late as Gerald makes contact with what seems to be Connor's car. As we head back to get going green, we see my wife there checking on a car, make sure it wasn't in the dead zone. We're heading back going live again. We see Gerald able to get a good lead out on that red lane as we get another hard crash there underneath the bridge. We get a call from a racer wanting to be put on behind the lap counter. So if he didn't get the lap, he shouldn't break out. If he did get the lap, it'll break him out. No big deal. So see a lot more, what seems to be a little bit slower racing going on now as people are getting in somewhat of a groove, knowing about how much their car can do, not really pushing the limits, just trying to make laps. As tonight is a dual GRC race, so not only is this race laps counted, but also the laps to be counted on the green too. And it's a collaboration between the two. So if we do have a tie lap-wise, which we've had that before where they both ended on the same lap, what we do is go to the finishing position on the oval track, as the oval track is our highest turning lap-wise and also the most competitive, as that's what most of these guys gear their cars for. A nice coast there, I believe, on orange lane of Guillermo Sauer. His car just kind of just stuck to that track underneath the bridge as it rode underneath there. As you can tell a difference if you go back and watch some of the races from when we first started to now, how much smoother these cars sound, how much these guys have gotten their cars freed up since we've just opened here at Lanes Raceway. A lot of these guys brand new to the game and just really taking an interest into the sport and getting their cars freed up. But I can tell the difference just in my right ear through the window of how much better these GRCs are sounding on this orange track from when we first started. Of course, we've gotten a lot better tire compounds here too, with treated fish tires. A lot of the guys like the stickier tires, but not to mention even better type of gears. So we run Honda gears and stuff like that too. Alicia Gaddis says, yeah, you can definitely tell. Well, for one, you know for a fact that Bruce's car is a thing to behold, especially if we get a track call and he's on the back stretch and in it, that car will coast all the way around the high banks. Jay's car is similar to the same aspect, just very smooth running cars. They got their meshes just perfectly lined up on those cars, and it's really nice. And everybody's kind of following suit behind these guys as they're kind of pushing the envelope of the technology that is available to us. You see my wife back here smiling with one eye. It's something to see.
It's like a creeper.
Yeah, a little scary. She's on this shoulder, it looks like. As we see Jay there grabbing his car. He puts his card there in that track. Alicia said hello, Chelsea. Jay puts his car there. Of course, a lot of you guys know this. He puts his car there so that it lets everybody else know it's where he puts his car back. It also lets him know. If he didn't do that, we got these things dialed in so much breakout wise that, you know, if you're just about a quarter of a track length off, you could break out. So, you know, it's very important you put your car exactly where it is, because it could cost you a lap. And, you know, like I said, several races that we've had down here have come down to where, you know, multiple people have been on the same lap. Now, they may not have been racing for first. We've had one time where we had 3 people racing for third place, and it boiled down to where they was, and we had to make them all tie, and none of them got track books that night. So, you know, it's very important to know where you finish. And I think I'm going to reiterate that tonight, is what I'm seeing average-wise. A lot of people are really equaling out here and running about the same average lap times. As we can check the track mate after all of this, as we see everybody getting ready, 44 seconds left to go. We'll check that track mate next, but I know those that have been viewing since we started, they can tell that all these laps, averagely speaking, are very close together. You do have your outrunners like Jay and Randy Kirtley and Guillermo and stuff that are running in the uppers because they got a better rhythm of this track so far. But for the most part of everybody that hasn't yet figured that rhythm out, they're running that S-turn the same way, and they're a little bit slower, but they're all running right there together, 24, 25 laps, something like that. So we've got 5 seconds before we go green. Bo McPherson back on red. And let's see if he got his car under control. As fast as his car is, it's probably still a very wise idea to blip on red. So we see Randy Kirtley and Jay Latham, like I said, inching their way up. Guillermo, this will be his last heat for the race, so it'll be the dictator of how many laps can be turned and whether or not Randy in 2 heats can be able to catch him or not. But Randy Kirtley and Jay Latham, they're battling within each other of what, 6 laps? They're 6 laps within each other, so like yet again, Jay Latham, not only does he have a NASCAR that is free-flowing here lately, but now it seems that he's got his GRC in a very good working order also. So Jay Latham quickly becoming a top runner, as we've seen a nice, beautiful coast there from Jay's car coming around the high banks. So that right there alone, just from what I'm seeing, lets me know that car is super freed up. So, Alicia, blipping, you see where Jay is located right there. If you can get the light just right, let's go to the big screen here so you can see it a little bit better. Oops, sorry about that. So right there where Jay's at, you'll see a little crack in the track. That crack right there, there's a little bit of an imperfection in the track that causes a little dip. You can somewhat see it in the shine of the light right there on red, where it's darker there, right where Jay's lined up at. Well, that's just a little bit of a dip there in the track, and if the cars are fast enough, the back end will actually float, and when it comes back to seat again, sometimes it'll hit so abruptly with traction that it'll pull them out of the track and cause them to come off. So if their cars are fast like that, a lot of the times we'll just tell the guys that they need to just kind of give a little let off the trigger and back on. We call that blipping. And if they do that, then they usually keep their cars in line on red, white, and green. If they don't come off and get back into the trigger, it won't let the car settle back down. There'll be full line torque on those wheels, and it's direct drive to the gear like a rear end car that when they hit, it's full lock and it grips, and like I said, it pulls them out. Pretty much what you just seen right there is what takes place when they don't blip. But at the same time, yeah, you see that, okay. But yeah, at the same time, sometimes you're running for such a position, like if you see where they ended up crossing the line on Randy Kirtley's, that's why he ended up getting the black around his lap time. But if you're running for position, like if you were Jay or Randy or Guillermo or even Gerald, and you're running for position, sometimes you don't really have an option, especially if you're hyper competitive. You just got to risk it. And sometimes you can run 20, 30 laps, 100 laps, and never come out. And it just hits perfect every time. But it is really a gamble. The only way to know for sure that you're not going to come off there is literally if you blip it there and let it settle back down. But sometimes it's so bad if the tires are low, as we move to the track mate, sometimes it's so bad that if the tires are low and the chassis can drag, you can literally hear it hitting the track. So now we see a total laps of 202 laps from Guillermo, ending with an average of 25.2 laps. So we can see Randy Kirtley, if he holds his average, he should be able to take over that. Also, if we see Jay Latham hold his average, he'll be able to finish in second place. So it's really going to boil down to whether or not these guys keep their averages or not. But you can also tell that everybody else is 20, 22 laps. They're all right there with each other, just fighting for position. And that just shows you another difference from when we first started, how those numbers were all over the place. Now all these guys are falling within their gear ratios pretty much of this track, whether or not they got it tuned in or not. Some of the guys at the lower ends, you know, usually are involved in wrecks or they're new, like Dalton. So Bo, of course, he had some issues on white lane causing his average to be low. So we have 1 minute and 43 seconds left to go. I'm going to move to the oval cam so you can see guys work on their cars, and I'll be back with you in a moment.
Starts in 40 seconds.
20 seconds left to go before we go green. We get a thank you, Alicia. She said, thanks for explaining. It's interesting. It sure is. I mean, there's a reason I've been doing it for as long as I've been doing it. And all these guys, for the majority of them, it ain't the first time they've touched slot cars, Jay included. So yeah, it definitely is interesting. Something to really get into. I'm not going to say it's the cheapest hobby, but at the same time, it's definitely not the most expensive, as we get another victim to the non-blipping. Gabriel Kirtley saying, don't choke Jay. So if you know Gabriel Kirtley, also known as my brother, him and Jay had a hard race last race. Literally the last race we streamed, which was for Bryant Engineering race weekend. You can go back and check it. If you just want to check the highlights, just skip towards the end of the race, but check that out. But it was a really good race between Gabriel Kirtley and Jay Latham in our professional class, which is the Fairview IT Cup Series. So check that out. I won't spoil who won it, but don't choke Jay. As we get another car coming off there on Red Lane, seems to be another victim of the non-blip. So yeah, red, white, and green, all three almost mandatory to blip if your car keeps getting unsettled. This car specifically is Bose. Before the race, barely able to pass Tech with the tires that he had on it. So there's an issue there. That's most likely what's happening is he's carrying enough speed that he's dragging it back. That was a good blip there. He did. If he does that every lap like that, he won't have any issue coming off. We get two cars and we get a rider there on white. So white lane might possibly break out here, Dalton, if he makes it around in time. Which I don't think he will. Hey Tony, love the interviews. Yeah, well, you can thank my brother. Like I said to Alicia earlier, my brother's the one that got it all set up, and we plan on doing one here after this heat for sure, especially the way things are shaping up. We now see Randy Kirtley and Jay Latham and Gerald, all three moving up the lines. Now, of course, don't forget that Guillermo's still in this race. He's just not on this board. We can compare his times after this to see where he stands. Also says, tell Bruce to get his head in the game. I will tell him that. Just as soon as we get done with this heat, we have 45 seconds left to go. As Bruce, you guys know, at least the past couple times on the circle track, a force to be reckoned with when it comes to racing that circle track. I'm really interested to see tonight how it's going to fare with the new track changes as we went to jack that back side of that track up. As we'll go over the oval cam here real quick. And we've got this back stretch here jacked up to help with the cars on entry, to pretty much help with braking, also to help these guys to not accelerate so hard through the middle of the turn, causing them to come out. It helps to seat the back of the car the way that it's angled now. It helps seat the back of the GRC exiting Dead Man's Corner. And I've raced it myself, and it's almost too easy to race now. But we'll see how things shape up for those guys when we move over to that track next race. And Alicia saying, don't choke Jay. That really was a good race. It really was. It's like I was telling everybody else. I said, that was the most interesting race that I have watched since we've been doing the Pro Series. Now, the most interesting race that I had seen was our 4-inch race that we held. It wasn't streamed, which I wish it was, because it was such a moment to see. The first 4-inch race that we held here, Guillermo was actually here, and he brought his 4-inch car, and we raced, and it come down to the final heat. And in the final heat, right here on the exit of the high banks here in the orange track, we got into each other, and we were twisting around each other, and his car was inside of my car, and he was just dipped out just in the front, just by a little bit, and ended up getting the win. As we go to TrackMate here real quick and see how things are still shaping up. We still see Guillermo there with 202 laps holding the lead off. Randy Kirtley in second, Jay in third, and Gerald Suttle in fourth. We see 25.2 average laps of Guillermo, 26.4 of Randy. So this next heat, unless there's a blow up or something that happens, Guillermo's going to fall off. Also, it looks like possibly Jay Latham in this next heat too. If he holds it, he's going to also knock Guillermo down to third position. Gerald Suttle will have to make up a little bit of time to be able to get that 202 laps, as his average is just a little bit below Guillermo's, but I can't wait to see. As we go to the oval cam for a second to see people work. Actually, I'm going to go to the oval iPad cam and see if I can go get some people interviewed. Guillermo, I got to know, man. I'm getting a little bit of fog on the camera. I got to know, do you think you can hold them off, or do you think Randy's going to hold it in there?
Oh, Randy's going to kill me.
Well, are you you worried that Jay Latham's
He may also get sick.
Yeah, it's very close. Jay, I got to talk to you, man. You got fans live now too. Told Bruce by one of your fans that you need to pick. Man, what do you got to say about that?
Well, it's easier said than done. I'm a student.
And learn he has been doing, as like I said, putting in the time. Jay, I got to know, man. Are you going to put Dad in his one by one?
I don't know. We're close. I don't know if I can catch up to him or not. We'll try.
You know, if you take out Kirtley's, you got to face the king, and you know who the king is. He's behind this camera.
Oh, really?
He already knows that's a lie. But everybody, Jay really putting in the work, as we can see. And Randy Kirtley, he doesn't even look like he wants to be interviewed. He's all business right now. Look at that man. That man right there, also known as Octopus Arms. I know he's laughing back there. That's why he's hiding his face. He's laughing. Oh, Octopus Arms. Everybody, the best track marshal there is.
Don't choke, Jane.
All right, as we get back ready to go green for our final heat rotation here on the orange track, all laps will be tallied after this race and will be added to go into our dual GRC as we get a hard crash there, as we see Guillermo getting his car back on. Kind of know that Sam got a little bit of a break out there. Somebody rode on his lane. A little late on the track button there, but nonetheless it got hit. Get another hard hit there underneath the track. I will say this, I almost think the way that we got that thing angled, it's lets the sound come in a little bit better into this room, almost like it's just pushing that sound right in here, because the hits sound a whole lot harder. So as we see with the track mate, Randy Kirtley finishing 213, Jay Latham in second with 204, Guillermo finishing out in third place, holding on to that third place finish with 202. We're going to take a picture of this, and then we're going to shortly change over to the orange track, and we'll be right back with you. So, Jay, now that I got you here on the live cam, man, what's your strategy for the circle track?
Get as many laps as possible without crashing.
Many laps as possible. He's in here right now buying tires. He's not the only one, as we've seen Bo McPherson. He's changing his tires up. His rear end was a little bit low. Well, Guillermo, it looks like Randy was able, old Octopus Arms, was able to hold you off, but you did. What do you think?
Well, my car was chattering all around the donut, and I fixed it on the last hit. So. Yeah, but I had him once, so that may happen again.
What was that, Randy?
Handle on the oval.
So you think he's got something for you on the oval, Randy Curley?
Probably does.
Now, is that modesty talking, or is that I'm going to let him win talking?
No, that's we're both going to have to try to beat Bruce over there. He's the one to beat right now.
That is true. I need to talk to Bruce. I know look at him, they're being real serious. This man here, he is going to defend his wins for this circle track. Bruce Bullington, you guys know, we haven't had the stream, but we also call him the streak around here, and he's working on a new streak.
Well, I don't know. I mean, when you lose your body and you got to stop and fit it back on, it kind of messes up your focus. And it takes a lot of focus to run these things. People don't really realize it, but it does.
It really does.
And if you lose your focus, you lose your car, and then you end up smacking a wall, and then you do a lot of damage, then you're really in a good boat.
So, Bruce, I got to know, man, are you planning on taking home the win on this circle track? Because I know you got this car set for the circle track, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I would like to, but you never know what happens. I mean, I got everybody here is good on this circle track, so it's going to be hard to say. We'll just have to see.
Well, are you trying something new this week for the circle track, or are you just going back to old reliable from when you won the past couple times?
Well, I'm going back a little bit, but not too far back. Maybe just a little bit more weight here and there.
All right.
You know my secrets.
I don't blame you to tell me all your secrets, because I will tell everybody. Ethan, I got to know, man, do you have something for Bruce?
We'll try. I mean, all we can do is try.
You heard it. He's going to give it a shot. You need what? All right. Well, I do sorting jobs here at Lanes Raceway. What do you need sorted? Okay, you just. All right. All right, everybody. I'm going to help Sam sorter in a motor real quick. We'll be right back with you when we get all the names put in on the orange track. We'll see you soon. Alicia says, Jay cracks me up on interviews. Yes, he does me too. He's cracked me up my whole life. Come on, Dad, let's go racing. You say you want to race against the best. The best is here tonight. The Streak, yes, that is his name. The Streak, for sure. We're fixing to go back live racing here shortly. As you can see, these guys have about 2 more minutes of warm-up. Just checking back in with you. These guys are still trying to get their cars going. Had to take a quick break there real quick and solder in some lead wires. But stick with us as we get ready to go green. Just keep an eye on the guys. You start seeing the cars line up. Just know that the race is going to follow soon right behind it. We're waiting right now currently on one more car to get checked. Sam's. He had to solder in a new motor, which we did that earlier, so he's getting her put in his car. He'll be right up here. We'll be ready. Elise says, this is nerve-wracking, the anticipation. Yeah, we got a few cars lining up. Just keep an eye out there. We'll be right back with you. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we got Bo McPherson needs to get his car on the track, and it also looks like we need Sam Nelson to get his car on the track. But other than that, everybody else is sticker up, biting at the bit, ready to race. And track favorite here, Glenn Burton just walked through the door. He went on him a adventure. Went on an adventure to a track, I believe, in Illinois. They had a hill climb and some sort of looking nationals looking track. I don't know exactly what it's called. The guys have the TV turned off. I guess it turned off on its own, maybe. I don't know. But maybe we didn't turn it on this today, so I got to get that on for the guys. Slacking in my duties. I'm probably going to shut off about 5 or 6 TVs while I do it. Hopefully I don't, but we'll see. Yep, I turned off 2. We'll get them. So now I got to go manually turn these other 2 TVs on. Just so seems it's the 2 TVs you guys can't see. Hello out there. And I'm thinking Gabriel Kirtley, he's out there sending his people on his big screen TV, as a few of you are. I almost feel like he wants to be here in such a big race. But I think maybe he might be a little scared of Jay. One more closer before we go to green. Looks like Robert Whitaker is going to be on deck at the beginning of this race. Speaking of that, I'm still slacking as I got to go over here and get the audio set up for these guys or they won't hear when to go green. I don't know. I'm feeling a little something out in the ether here. I feel like there might be a viewing party going on. I may have some inside intel. I don't know, but I feel like maybe Ed might be with my brother right now. Ed Howe, everybody, from the professional series, running against the likes of Jay Latham. So far, Jay Latham has that dub, so he's representing. But I know Ed and maybe Gabriel Kirtley possibly. They might have something to say about that eventually. So we got the audio on. We're just waiting on one more car. Sam Nelson on blue. And we'll be ready to go. Bo McPherson causing trouble with Sam. Sam giving it back. It's all good in racing. How's it going, Gerald?
What's up, brother?
Oh, just hanging out by the track, waiting to go green. I know you're waiting to go green. Or you got the butterflies going yet?
Nope.
Man of Steel, huh? I know one guy behind you right here. He's always walking with butterflies in his gut. Bo McPherson.
Oh, yeah, you better know it.
So those butterflies, they keep you sharp?
Not too sharp.
Not too sharp?
Look.
Little dull like me?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right. What do you think about the new improvements of this track here with the high bank here on the left side of the back of the track here?
That's going to be way different. It's going to be scary.
Is it scary, or do you think it's going to help you on entry?
Oh, on entry, it's going to be awesome. But if you come out of that corner, I think if you come out of that corner too hot or something, it might catch, but I don't know.
All right. Our final car is up on the racetrack. We're fixing to go green, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody get their controllers hooked up. Stickers. My wife has shortchanged Nelson of his stickers. He's got them now. Oh, well, he's been busy, hard at work. So everybody, hang in there. Ed Howe, I'm here with Gabriel watching. He is just waiting for the start. Well, we're about to appease a lot of anxious anticipation from all kinds. Everybody excited out here. I see 7 racers waiting on 8. As soon as I see 8, we're ready to go. The 2 guys, Robert Whitaker and whoever else is setting out, need you as track marshals. One of you on the button, the other one in the hot spot. Tom, I appreciate you. All right, here we go, everybody. I'm just teasing Sam right now. I'm waiting till he hooks up. Once he gets hooked up, we'll go green. Sam, you good? All right, man. I wish you the best of luck. Here we go, racers. No. Watch your lights. All right, so I'm using this wireless mic as evidently the sound quality of it's a little bit better. You possibly won't hear the track as good, but nonetheless, if you'd rather hear the track, let me know. If you'd rather hear clear audio, then I can always put it out there. You should still be able to hear somewhat of the track. But I don't want to hurt your ears with this first mic. So with the first mic on, this is what it sounds like. So this is the first mic. with the first mic off, it seems to be clearer audio, I believe. But Ed, if you're still on, let me know which one you think's better, and can you still hear the slot car track when they're going green? I think possibly Sam Nelson's car had his brakes reversed, so he's fixing that right now. That's why he didn't start at the beginning. Looks like Randy Kirtley's at the start-finish line, too. I don't know whether or not he got in a wreck or not. It's kind of a little bit busy looking elsewhere when all the start was taking place. I'm just really curious whether or not Jay Latham is going to put up a fight in this GRC series with his father-in-law there, Bruce Bullington. Also, it's going to be something serious to see, too. I know Bo has been biting at the bit to see whether or not his GRC can hang with these guys on the circle track, because he did a little bit of work on his car. And I'm excited to see how things turn around. I'm sure Sam's wanting to see how his car performs now with the new motor in it. So probably a little bit of a break-in period to take place for his motor to really shine, as we really want to see that motor break in good and true and not slow down for him. But these brushes are really, really small on these cars, so, you know, it's hit or miss. Do you want to break it in and not have much brush? How much money do you want to spend basically on motors? You can make them a little bit quicker for a little time, maybe a couple races, but eventually you're going to have to deal with that. Bethany McPherson in the top left of the screen up there. She came last night, raced in our drag race, and finished third place. New to drag racing, but very, very taking it serious, even more so than her son, Bo. She comes in here and she really wanted to dial in her blue Mustang, so we did a little work, put a little weight on it, had her set up, and I'll tell you what, she really did show forth some really good ET times, very similar to one another. Lynn Burden fixing to hit the button. We're fixing to go back green. So Bo McPherson and Bruce Bullington so far currently with the highest median ratios here. Best lap turn by Bo McPherson with a 1.89 on black. Very good turnout for Bo currently, as his car is hooking up pretty well. Nice and smooth on the track, as you can see also. As we keep an eye a little bit on Bo to see how he's turning compared to others, it does look like he has that car freed up quite a bit. Bo just recently bought one of the DD 281 Pros. As we get a car off, Bo narrowly escaping that wreck, as you see my wife grabbing that car of Sam's, and whether or not he's going to go behind the line or not, breakout set. So it's 1.1 second, I believe, is what the lap, or 1.7 seconds. Nope, it's 1.1 seconds. If you look in the top part of your screen there, on the left, you might be able to see it if you got a big enough screen to see that it is 1.1 seconds. As we see Sam come off again and get hit twice all the way back down to Dead Man's Corner. 3 cars involved in this incident. Definitely not what you want to see. Possibly a braid issue where his braids are not flat enough on the track. Could be a bent car. Could be a many of things. But I will assure you, this track is very much runnable, very much even, in my opinion, too. Very, very easy to drive compared to the way that it was before, as we did fix those gaps from where the cars were coming off. Had a few cars come in. I didn't get a tech Sam's. I think my wife teched his car, so I didn't really get to see it. But hopefully he can get that figured out. But as we look back on black and we see Bo McPherson's car really flying as we get a lot of trash getting dumped off there into black lane, possibly guys having a little bit more top end to take place coming out of Dead Man's Corner, now causing them to come off. The way that we changed the track lets you have a little bit more entry, but at the same time you can come out a whole lot quicker and still stay planted. This may be an issue now. You might need to actually blip the crook of the track, because if you don't, it could cause you to come out. But as we can tell right now, just from watching this race so far, the guys are staying in tremendously amount better with that extra added bank there on the backstretch, thanks to Randy Kirtley. Bo McPherson's car really flying as we see him turning 34 laps so far on black lane with a best lap of 1.867. Randy Kirtley in second on orange, turning 2.017, also running really good lap time for an orange lane. Jay right there biting at the bit on one of the longest lanes there, running 30 laps at 2.066. He's about to break into the 1 second category. That is super fast for an upper lane. As we see Sam get into a little bit of contact in the crook of the track with another driver. Just kind of got slung out a little bit. Possibly didn't get that lap, but it looks like they're going to stick him back on the track anyways. Bo McPherson's car really smooth on that black lane, almost like it is just planted in that track. You see him now being able to take that black corner. We'll see how this adjustment takes place for the rest of the drivers as we continue down and see if really if black is more planted now than it used to be. Because black used to be a very harsh area to go through, as we see Bo almost being able to pull it off from Connor, but Connor was able to inch out in front of him. Gabriel Kirtley says, waiting patiently on Bo to fall apart in the next heat or two. Well, we'll see what Bo has to say about that after this heat, but he is surely focused with his new controller in hand, and he is running a good race, as he did get that coast in front of Connor there to be able to take in front of him, not having to battle for trying to pass him there on purple. Now in somewhat of a cluster between yellow and blue as Glenn gets the track turned back on, and we're going back green. So we see Bo there really dive bombing it in. Not tremendously faster than everybody else, but you can see that he is really giving it everything he's got. Pretty much got that controller tuned in to a T as he comes off for the first time there on black. Bruce Bullington taking over Randy Kirtley's lead, as they're both pretty much on equal lanes, relatively speaking. Bruce being 1 lane higher than Randy Kirtley, that is actually saying something, that Bruce has his car dialed in, ladies and gentlemen. So expect Bruce to be a force to be reckoned with yet again. As we talked to him before the race started, Bruce is bringing his A game, and he is not 1 second about to bow down to Randy Kirtley in his octopus arms. As we get the car of Guillermo Sauer back on red lane, Guillermo been working a little bit on his cars, as he said he finally there at the end of orange got his car to hook up a little bit. We'll see if Guillermo is going to try to put forth an effort to get his car reeled in there on orange, running a decent time of 2.105. As you can see, him and Jay a little bit, best lap-wise, a little bit spread apart, and also Jay being able to turn a little bit quicker of a median time, but relatively close to one another. So he is definitely in the league of running for this win. The excitement I see here currently is between Bruce Bullington, the past couple race winners, and Bo McPherson. As you all know, we do have a rule here at Lanes Raceway, 2 in a row. The motor got to go. It's got to go into a cup that we have over here. I'll show you guys real quick. So here's the cup of destiny. All right, so if you get 2 in a row, you got to put your motor in here, and we'll take your motor, and you'll take one of these motors. These are just motors directly off of the card sheet over here. And basically what that's for is so that there's no questions I ask. These guys are using legal motors. We don't have any issues like that here at Lanes Raceway. Now, the guys, they have their own way of talking to one another. And, of course, if you win more than 1 or 2 races in a race weekend, you end up getting labeled a cheater. But that's racing. And just don't let it bother you too much. As everybody out here is cheated once or twice in their life, I'm sure, at racing. I've never really met a racer, to be honest with you, that ain't tried to cut some corner here or there. But nonetheless, here at Lanes Raceway, we take every car the same, and we want everybody to be as equal as possible. Now, within your own artistical expression and mind of how to skate within the rules, that's up to you, as we give freedom to all these racers, and we can see these guys are really giving it everything that they got. As we say, Bo McPherson just said he overshot a little bit there, came out. But still currently our leader with the best lap time and the best median time currently. So he is definitely competing with the others. Not too much of a difference between him and Bruce. As we get a high-speed come-apart of tire coming across the back stretch. Such a hard hit. I don't know whose tire that is, but we got several cars involved. We got Bruce's car involved. We got, I believe, I don't know whose blue car that is. Yes, Bo is doing great. Thank you, Alicia. Like I said, he come in here a couple weeks ago and he said, Donnie, we gotta take a look at this thing, man. We gotta try to make it smooth. We gotta try to make it stick. I just can't get it to go. So I took a quick look at his car. It's a little bit bent. We bent it back into place, put a new pinion in it, changed his gear ratio a little bit. He got him some tires, and we set the thing up, and I just sat there and I watched him as he raced. And I could see what the car was doing, and I told him, I said, we need to put weight here. We need to get that back in under control. So we got him set up, got his weight placed right, where he had his weight in some weird positions. And as you can tell, it's really hanging in there for him, and it's matching up with that trigger finger that he's got. And I'm glad to see it, because I love seeing whenever these guys put in the work and come in here and try to get stuff figured out, and I see it working for them. I wish it would have worked out a little bit better for him in the orange track, but he, alas, did not work on getting the orange track quick. He wanted to get the circle track quick. So I would say the car was a little unbiased when it come to the orange track, because he has the weight placed to be better for the orange track, or the green track, excuse me. So we take a quick look here at the track mate. We can see just about the averages here. So Bo right now far superior than most guys you see here, with a total average lap of 64. Randy Kirtley in second. I don't know for a fact Randy Kirtley does not like to see that his average laps is less than anybody. So he takes pride in getting wins all the time and placing those motors in our cup. I know he loves that. Also, Bruce Bullington there in third place. But as I said, these guys are higher up on the mark. This is the travel track. Everybody that's watched this race knows that the black lane is the shortest of the lanes, so it's still too young to tell whether or not Bo's car is going as quick as these others. But I would say it's relatively comparable to these people in the competition that they're having right now. So we see Robert Whitaker coming in on red. Now we see Gerald Suttle. He's on deck. He'll be coming in after Robert after this heat. As we got 1 minute and 35 seconds left to go, we're just going to go real quick to a bigger version of the oval cam and let you guys see these guys working on their car. You heard it here. That's Bo McPherson's mom, Bethany. She says the girls are dominate in drag racing. Bo, I got to know, man, how do you feel about that black lane and how your car performed that last heat?
I think it's performed pretty well, and got to keep it up.
All right, now, I will say one of your fans, or maybe lack thereof, Gabriel Kirtley, he just commented, and he said, I give you a couple heats before you fall apart. What do you want to say back to him?
Tell him to read the message from, I guess it was last week.
All right, he said, read that message from last week. The text message. So Bo's done sent you a text message, Gabriel, and this is where Bo is standing. So Bo, let me ask you this: you think you're going to take home a dub tonight?
If I keep it up, I will.
All right, I think you got it in you, Bo. Glenn over there with the choke hands. We'll see. We'll see. Five seconds before we go green. Looks like we're going to get a pause here. A couple guys quick on the draw. Was able to get a little bit of an advantage there. As right out of the gate, we get a car straight to the wall. Whether or not it was in contact, I do not know. That was Dalton's car. Brought the car in here earlier. It was dragging on the left side in tech, and it was just bent. So we bent him back a little bit, freed up his rear axle a little bit, and got him to where he could actually race. Just pretty much boils down to an issue of the tires are getting low, possibly needs a new set there to get him up. As when these cars come, the bushings are set on the high side, so it don't take much for the tires to get small enough to where that it drags the track. But if you set it on the low side, then you can get a whole lot more life out of your tire. And that's what a bunch of the racers do. Now, at the disadvantage of also increasing your center of gravity, I guess, a little bit. But that's left up to the racer whether or not they want to do that. If they don't, they just got to buy tires more often. So we got a dead car there on black. That'd be Connor's car, maybe possibly in the dead zone. Jared Suttle gave him a gentle boost there. So we keep an eye on Bo to see if whether or not he's turning just as competitive times there on yellow. We see him dive bombing there, staying pretty much even there with Bruce Bullington. As both of their cars, as we get a little bit of an incident, whether that was in front of them or behind them. But these are the two guys you really want to focus on, and they're running almost identical with one another. Bo just on the inside of Bruce. Bruce letting him by there for the first time, but Bruce taking him on the high banks there as he was able to carry a little bit more top end around the high banks. So both of these gear ratios comparable. You're actually watching these gear ratios in work as these guys are giving and taking, and the difference is just the ratio. As we see Bo let off a little bit more than he should there, giving the leeway there to Bruce. Bruce coming off there as he pushed just a little too hard on his, causing somewhat of an incident there, it looks like, between Jay Latham. I don't know whose yellow car that is, but I believe Jay Latham's is the orange car. We'll see here shortly. So it's Randy Kirtley's car is the dark blue car, and Guillermo Sowers is the yellow car. Okay, so Guillermo, he comes here every once in a while when he gets some free time from work. And like I said, he races with us down there in the basement, and very competitive. Usually if you want to know if you're good enough, race against him or Randy. And currently racing against Bruce, it seems. Bo McPherson, he is definitely doing that as he's still holding this lead with a 1.92 best lap. Currently second to Bruce down on the low a lane above him. So we see Bruce being able to pull ahead there on blue. So we see Bo barely being able to miss that incident there in the crook of the track as Sam Nelson's car came off. But yet again, Bruce's car dialed in, and as he gets into a little bit of contact there with Dalton coming out of the corner, as we can now carry more speed through Dead Man's Corner. The back action getting loose is now taking place about mid-corner instead of the exit of the corner. We can see Bo there on yellow taking the inside of Dalton as Dalton comes to the high banks of the wall there, getting into a little bit of contact there with Sam. Or I'm sorry, Bruce Bullington. I reiterate every time that if you have the inside line, I mean, you don't have to let off. Sometimes a common courtesy is given if the outside lane is faster than you. But if you are running for position, especially to the guy on the outside lane of you, you don't have to let off. You do have advantage on a tri-oval, and you want to try to keep them off of you as much as possible. But you know, to each racer, let that be known. I mean, some of us let it happen. Other of us fight and grit our teeth and hope we can both make it through while still running very aggressive lap times. As we see Bruce take the inside very aggressively against Dalton there, but really doesn't have a choice as Bruce is running for position. And there's a lot of corners in this track, and they come very, very quickly as this is a medium-sized tri-oval. These cars are about perfect speed for this track. As we see Bo just take on the outside of Sam's car there, and was able to make a good clean pass there on yellow. We get a car down, I believe that might be Randy Kirtley's car there in the high banks of the track. Possibly didn't get that lap there. And he's making sure, telling Glenn to see if make sure his brushes are down. We do see that Dalton got his lap there on orange though. Dalton turning a lot better lap times on this track. Plus, not only that, turning consistently more experience on that seems to be the tri-oval here. As he's racing against Robert Whitaker here. As I believe that is I believe that might be possibly Dalton there that came off. Or Guillermo won. Ooh, so we got a car that a high-speed come-apart right there, completely off the track. This could be possibly a bent car, most likely, as it hit so hard. And I believe that was, it looks like maybe Bo's car that came off there on yellow. So, you know, the experience comes the more you race. Sometimes these cars can be confusing. You see me getting confused, and I think that might be what it's chucked up to be. It's just a little bit of confusion going on. Oh, McPherson's still in the lead with a meeting at 2.02, 2.03 now after the wreck. But Guillermo just giving up a place to Bruce Bullington as we get the red flag and a lane rotation. Bruce nipping at the heels of Bo, really wanting to dial that in and take him down. So on the track mate, we can see that Bo has 62 average laps currently, but right there behind him, 58.5 Bruce Bullington, 58.5 Guillermo. We see these guys nipping at the bit to take Bo off of his substantial lead. Randy Kirtley with 56.5, out of character for him, as he's normally fighting at least in the podiums. We see Connor hasn't been here in a while, really out of left field here, just coming like he's been doing this for years. He's nipping at the bit for Guillermo and Bruce there with 57 average laps. Currently run both of his lower lane heats, as we see Bo there with the lead of 64 laps on black lane. Bo turning in a nice 60 laps there on yellow, which is very competitive, within a lap or so of what people will turn on this track. We got a minute and 40 seconds as we go just to the oval track here, just to see what everybody's doing and working on their cars. I'm gonna take a small break and get me something to drink.
Look what your brother just sent me.
Race starts in 40 seconds. Race starts in 20 seconds. Race starts in 5 seconds.
All right, 5 seconds, and we're going to go green. I was just talking to Tom and saying how smooth Bo's car is sounding tonight. Usually when we see Bo's car, he ends up taking a hit or something every once in a while, and if there's a little slip in the gear, he'll run her down all the way till there's nothing left. But it's really running smooth tonight as he's getting competitive lap times with one another, trying to fend off Bruce here. Bruce being on the lower lanes, he is gaining lap time on him. We'll see if he can hold it together, as I believe he will possibly be able to at least podium if he does come down a little bit. But as long as he keeps his head and doesn't give up many laps, it might be a victory in sight for him. Guillermo and Bruce both nipping at the heels, though, as we see now Bruce being able to turn one of his lower lanes. We're going to start seeing Bruce really gain these laps on people. So we see Bo now going to the higher portions of the track. Bruce most likely, just from what I'm seeing right now, going to probably end up within this heat, either being around the same as Bo or a lap or so ahead. His median lap time's of 1.96, but a best lap of 1.873. So he is occasionally turning some pretty powerful lap times. Guillermo Sauer also right there with him. But curious really, as Jay is one of our setouts, I'm just curious to see when Jay gets in how the tides will turn. Because Jay really been building a really good car also. And I know that he was racing with Gabriel Kirtley in the Pro Series, Fairview IT Cup Series last week, and it was a nail biter, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to see some more of that nail biting. But what I want to see is some father-in-law versus, I guess, son-in-law action here. And then throw a Bo in the mix just to keep the flavor alive, like some maybe some Louisiana gumbo going on in there. Keep it spicy. As we get a car spicily coming across the front stretch of the track there, settling down in the high banks of the track, I believe that to be Dalton's car. Coming off possibly of White Lane, Guillermo Sauer also coming off. Dalton's first time being here, very impressed that, he's not in the very last position. It's usually guys that come out their first time, they tend to settle somewhere in the back for the most reason. They're just not used to the track, as most are. We get a little bit of a collision off of purple there and black touching each other. It'll be Bruce Bullington and Sam Nelson really racing each other hard. Bo McPherson turning 30 laps. Lost 2 laps so far to Bruce on the inside lane as he's still trying to fend off his car against Bruce. So we come back around, and I believe he was involved in somewhat of the incident there. We keep an eye there on orange. We'll see how long it takes for Bruce to really mend there on purple with his green car. So we see orange there, and now we see Bruce there on the inside. We see him holding him off. It's pretty comparable. As you can see, these guys are neck and neck with each other right now. And Dead Man's Corner now, and the high mains come back the backstretch. Coast, both of these cars are relatively equal with one another, as that's actually Sam Nelson's car I'm keeping an eye on. So he's dead even with Sam Nelson's car there on black. Lost Bruce on purple there. their cars are so almost identically painted, both a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow. Sometimes I kind of lose track in my eyes. But as we keep a look there on purple, he's dive bombing her in there. We keep the faster car there of purple going around the high banks back into Dead Man's Corner. We just kind of see just a give and a take there between him and black. As we roll around now, more equalizing out, you can kind of see him just leaving just about maybe 3 car lengths each lap against Bo McPherson. So relatively close with one another, but still yet inching out Bo currently 4 laps this heat. And then the next heat also, he will also lose some laps. But the race ain't over till it's over, as we'll see that we'll do a little bit of comparison between his purple lane versus Bo's purple lane, and we'll have more of an idea of where these guys stand. So let's get to that right now as we head to the track mate. And we can see here Bo's purple lane, he turned, or Bo's black lane, I'm sorry, we might not be able to do it this time here. But relatively close. You see Bruce there turning 61 laps on purple. Bo actually turning 64 laps on black. Now these would be comparable lanes with one another, so as we can tell, Bo being able to just slightly inch out there above Bruce. Bruce currently turning 59.3. Bo's still averaging out 60 laps, so we can see now a distinction between Bruce and Guillermo, at least, as they're not sharing the same averages. Bruce being able to hold off that second position as he goes into the lower lanes. Connor now falling to the 4th position as he's finished up some of his lower lanes also. But Bo, in comparison to Dalton on the orange lane, turning an extra 5 laps. Dalton being new to this, so that's relatively close within the averages between the two. So it's very respectable lap times, especially for someone that's just starting. So we got 1 minute and 43 seconds left to go. We're going to go over real quick. Check out the oval cam, see everybody working. We'll check out the old pinball scores too. As you see KK here, she comes in here, pinball player for the IFPA out of Tennessee, comes in, puts up some scores. She's ranked. She says she's high up there, but she's ranked nonetheless. That's better than any of the rest of us. She was able to be the leader this Sunday as she come in yesterday. I told her, I said, well, we'll go ahead and credit you because I know I'm not going to be able to get that. And I knew Glenn was out of town, and we're pretty much the only two that's going to compete against it. So I went ahead and we credited her $10. She said, well, spread the love around so people that want to come in and play some pinball. So we appreciate that. And we did spread that love around to some guys and gals that came in yesterday, some new people. And they got to play some pinball for free on K. So we appreciate her and can't wait to see her till she comes back. 40 seconds left to go. We got a nice cool night here at Lanes Raceway with a little bit of rain going on. Nice traffic flow. A lot brighter than the last time you've seen our parking cameras, as we got signs here now at Lanes Raceway also. You can tell I've not been as lazy as usual and got some lights put up here. So we got some nice lights going on. So we got 15 seconds left to go. We're going to go ahead and head back to the Oval live stream. We got gals and girls coming in here all the time, getting them some drinks and snacks here at Lanes Raceway. Not to mention, we got some T-shirts in the last order for all you slot car fans that may want a T-shirt or something. We got Cahoza slot car T-shirts, Coford slot car T-shirts, reasonably priced at $16.50 each. So get your slot car apparel now as we get a wild hit there. Do not know who that was that hit so hard, but it was brutal. Possibly bent the nose on that car. All right, I can't tell who that is. Randy Kirtley just put them back on there. White Lane. So that'd be Bo McPherson that came off in that hard hit. Gabriel Kirtley, my brother, also says we have 25 hats on order for those to be Lanes Raceway hats. So I know a lot of you guys have been biting at the bit for some Lanes Raceway hats, but you come in here and you see the small hats and they're just a little too small for your head. Well, we got some more coming. So just be patient. Come on in and get you one. They're very, very good looking hats. Let's take a look at one real quick. Got that nice, good color. You see? Lanes Raceway. Good trucker hats. Snapback cap. I mean, really pretty hats. My brother gets someone locally to make those up, and we do appreciate that, as we do support local around here at Lanes Raceway. Ed Howe saying, do I see a bow come apart happening? Well, how many wrecks has he had so far on this heat? I know he wrecked the first one. We'll see if that may take place. But, oh, there is another car of his there. And Gabriel Kirtley, square of time, yes you do, Ed. As we see a lack of faith in Bo's driving skills. We'll see if that shapes up or if he can pull it off and focus in. It could be possibly a lack of sensitivity or too much sensitivity, depending on his car. As he got his car to take off there. His car aggressively quick, and being that quick, a lot of the times when the motors are really freed up and quick as his car is, they tend to have a little bit less brake. Oh, square of time. Gabriel Kirtley is correcting me here. I thought he was saying a slogan miscorrectly. But he said square of time is who makes the hats. I was thinking he was just giving me a new version of Nick of Time, commenting about Bo McPherson and his driving skills. Yes, Bo, yeah, he is definitely running hard. He really, really, really wants this win, Alicia. I mean, that's all he's been talking about. I can't wait till the GRC race, so I'm really just holding out for him, and I'm really hoping the best, as I want to see him get that win too. And I'm excited that he's in the position that he is to be able to get that, as he's running higher lanes, and that sometimes can be discouraging. But just run the heat for what it is, and run it as hard as you can. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the times it just works out in your favor as you start going back down those lanes and getting those laps. I think he's doing just fine, running a decent time. His median is a little bit high, but he's been involved in a couple wrecks here on the white lane. I do think that he can make it up, though, and I believe he can start getting back in the feel of things and just focus in on his own game. Don't let anybody bother him, and he'll be fine. As you can see, his car is very, very aggressively quick. He's being able to dive bomb that car in. You can see how much quicker his car is than the majority of the cars there below him. Being able to dive it in so quick there on white lane, it's just a rhythm issue that we're seeing here coming in through the dead man's corner. But if he can get that worked out, he's got the controller to do it for sure. I believe we might actually be able to see Bo take home a victory tonight. So he dives her in there really deep again on dead man's corner. He's chasing down people in front of him. We do see a little bit of competition happening now on the lower lanes in orange from Connor. A couple feet less as we get a car coming off, and he narrowly misses that. But he was able to get a decent bit of coast there. As we see Bo getting that car back on for Sam there on yellow. So really, when you're on these higher lanes, it's just best just to run a good, consistent amount and hope that people do just what you've seen there. So just run your lap, kind of keep your eyes in front of your car on those lanes. Run them good and above pace, but just run them to the limit that you can run them to and not push too hard. Keeping your eyes in front of the car. That way, if wrecks happen, you are in the trash lane down there on Dead Man's Corner. So when you come around the high banks, just give a good glance down there and make sure nobody else is in a wreck, because that is about the period between getting the lap shut off and you being able to safely escape that wreck. So you just give a little glance and just go, and then give a little glance and go, and keep yourself out of trouble. And like I said, get through that red and white lane. If you get through the red and white lane, then it's all free selling from there, and you can turn in some more competitive times. As we see Bo now shaping his car up quite a bit more, as he narrowly escapes that wreck there that ended up in red. But he wasn't coming in so hard that it would have done a whole lot of damage to his car. But it's interesting just to take this piece by piece and kind of focus in there with his car as we get so many track calls while he's on white and red lane. This is actually a good thing for him, as he's in a lane that's very well for coasting. As long as he's not involved in those incidents, he can actually gain quite a bit of time doing that. So Jay Latham, also a very competitive racer, as we see his car is also tuned in relatively the same as Bo's. Their median lap times are right there with each other. So both of them benefiting from not being involved in these incidents, and both of them being able to turn the laps that they was. We see Jay was able to inch out and take a couple more laps, as Bo was involved in a few incidents early on. But we can look at those best laps, and we can look at those median times and see that they did benefit from those coasts. So very respectful. 55 and 57 laps for Jay and Bo. As we head back over to the track mate just to take a quick glimmer of this. And we can see that Bo turned 55 laps there on white, 57 laps done by Jay. And if you guys know Randy Kirtley, he doesn't put up scrub times. They're both beating Randy Kirtley there on white. Now, whether or not Randy was involved in a bunch of incidents or whatever it may be, Guillermo turning 57 on red, also Jay Latham. So what Bo needs to do is try to turn at least 57 laps on red, and he will still be able to hold off this lead that he's got for himself. So the averages have changed now. You see Guillermo with 60.2 average laps and Bruce with 60. Bo kind of falling out of the 60s down into 58.8, as he was involved in a few incidents on the higher lanes. So you just got to get through them lane changes, get back down into the lower lanes as the finish takes place, and get that average back up without being in a bunch of incidents. Some of it boils down to a little bit of luck, but a lot of it boils down to just keeping your car on the track during wrecks. It's got 1 minute and 42 seconds left to go. We're going to just head back over, like I said, to the oval cam. And I'm going to get ready for a interview, and we're going to go out there and talk to Bo, as he kind of fell from grace a little bit after that heat. Oh, I got a man. So you got a few fans out there actually rooting for you, that they're saying you're pushing really, really hard. Alicia, she's pushing for you. She thinks that you're pushing real hard, and things are going good. Now, of course, you know your haters. They're wanting you to fall apart. And I noticed early on you had there a few incidents on white, and they were speculating that this was possibly a come apart that was taking place.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Gabriel, you can just shh.
So, one of his haters. But you know, that just shows you how racing is, doesn't it? Yep. That when you're on top, there's haters, ain't they? And they're trying to peg you down.
Haters are going to hate. If I had my sunglasses, I'd be putting them on.
That's right.
Hater blockers. Because he's scared.
I mean, that could be the case.
He's a Facebook warrior.
Well, he knew that Jay was coming too, and he knew him and Jay had that battle last week. You remember that?
Yeah.
And they were really close. Now, whether or not he's going to come back and try to, take that throne back from Jay, who knows? But all I know is you and Jay are running a very competitive race. Also, Bruce is in the mix too. But you better get back to racing.
Well, I gotta go track marshal now.
Oh, so you're actually out on this? Yeah, you better get to track marshal so I don't deduct you 10 laps.
Please don't.
All right. Gabriel Kirtley commenting, Bo wears sunglasses at night. I believe he might. I really believe that he might. But I do like the competition between these guys and gals, and I love how these racers are interacting with each other. But Bo definitely does have an opportunity here if he doesn't get discouraged. But then again, if he does, he's new to racing, and these things happen, and you get a little bit tougher the more that you race. But right now, Guillermo taking the lead. Bruce Bullington very, very close behind. Both of them running median lap times, 1.92, 1.9. Best lap, 1.821 and 1.849. It's It's almost as if these guys are relatively running the same lane. So if we take a look at these guys, one on yellow, one on black, you can see yellow being able to pull out there just a little bit as we get these cars put back on. Whether or not they go behind the line is up to the guys. If you know you got the lap, really not a good idea to go behind the line thinking you're going to get another lap, because you will break out. So it's 1.1 second, so just saying. Yes, Bruce is doing well tonight. Bruce has done exceptionally well, Gabriel, for the past couple races on our GRC, as he is definitely the new front runner. As you guys know before, whenever we were streaming GRC races, Tim Hall constantly signing the boards up top. Of course, we're kind of full up right now for the year for signatures on the drip. I need to take a picture of it and race them, and let's do it all again. But all the rest of the places are over top of the drag strip, and so yeah, I need to get on the ball on that. But yeah, Bruce has been the new front runner, kind of like how Tim was. Bruce putting in a couple victories so far on this oval track, and every week he seems to get faster. Him and Jay both, as they have been almost competitive one another, trying to fight for that position. We see Guillermo here. Of course, you know him, Gabriel. You know that Guillermo, he gets in this, he gets involved, he's coming down here, and he's ready to win. And he doesn't care how much he has to pay to get in a race. This dude will race for the dub. So, and like I said, Guillermo hooking us up with that device tonight really helped the track marshals. And I appreciate every time Guillermo comes down here and races with us, as he really does try to always bring us a little something, doesn't he, Gabe? Like last time he brought those FCR things he printed for us to cut the holes out for the FCR bodies. So we do appreciate Guillermo and how much he means to us. A good close friend for us, for sure. As we see Guillermo there on black, really running blistering lap times. And then up there on orange, you see Sam Nelson running relatively the same color car as Bruce. As I heard a little bit of a gear issue there. So that was Bruce's car getting put back there. Now we can see the comparing between Bruce and Guillermo, as they're both right there neck and neck at the beginning of the start-finish line. These guys both running almost identical times, best lap times. Their median just separated by 3 or so tenths or hundredths of a second. So, like I said, it's going to be a battle here as soon as we go back green for sure. So keep your eyes peeled on yellow and black here. As we see a jump there for Guillermo, and he jumped out really good. Thought he was going to get a good run there, as he ran her just a smidge deep there on black. But the car settled back down. Robert getting his car put back on there as the incident took place there off of black. They should relatively stay about 2/3 of a lap difference from each other, but we see Guillermo pushing deep with black, reeling in yellow of Bruce Bullington. As we see Bruce let off a little early there on yellow, yet again a little early, but now more running consistent lap times as he sees the black car approaching, or the car on black approaching, now running neck and neck with one another. Bruce's consistency is definitely something to behold, as the majority of the time that is one of Bruce's biggest strongholds here at Lanes Raceway. You don't hardly see Bruce come off anymore. At the beginning, everybody was coming off, but you'll watch Bruce, and I've only seen him come off a handful of times, and we're already in the 5th heat here. So that is definitely a big showing for Bruce and how Bruce races. We head to the track mate here to see if we get a little bit more information going on here. The difference between Bruce, Guillermo, and even Bo, as we get these top front runners. Jay also in the mix there with 57.3. All these guys relatively close in the 50s for sure. But our top runners, of course, right now, Bruce Bullington and Guillermo, Bo's the only other one that's within grasping range of those guys. But we can see that it's all downhill for Jay Latham from this point forward, as he's got 5 more heats to turn progressive lap times. And I think you're going to start seeing him climb as he does that. Randy Kirtley also in the same position, as you're going to start seeing him climb too. Bo McPherson, he's kind of got a mix of 2. So he's got really one more long lane. And green lane is not really considered a long lane. It's really an outlier of the middle lane. But we can see all these guys relatively close with one another. It's really going to boil down to a really good race, especially once we get to out tallying up all of the laps from the previous race and see who's going to end up winning this. Speaking of that, I do need to let the guys know the last heat that they need to leave their cars on the track in case we do have a tie. So in case that happens, we know exactly where they ended. Just a quick overview here for our Fairview Cup Series, is that's what we usually stream here at Lanes Raceway. But being we had so many people show up for GRC, and that's going to be our next series, I figure we get a little bit of an early showing here of what we have to offer here at Lanes Raceway and the competition for this GRC series. But our series right now, Fairview IT Management Cup Series, Randy Kirtley still holding on to that lead. As you see, he didn't race last weekend, as he's got enough races to finish his total of 14. That's 7 on each track. We only have 3 racers that's completely totaled their 14 races. As you see, he's holding down about a 600 lap, 600 lap lead, 604 laps next to Glenn. So that's going to be quite hard to catch up with. But I do believe, as good as Jay's car has been handling and Gabriel Kirtley's car has been handling, they might actually try to go after some of these later race weekends to try to gain up those laps and maybe give him a run for his money. Now, whether or not Randy Kirtley shows up for those races to give any kind of competition is still left up to the unknown, but we'll see how those things shape up. As we head back to the Oval Race live stream, we see guys getting ready. And Bo getting him a new nickname. It used to be Bo Daddy Dollars, but now I think this is a better nickname for Bo. Bo the Bruiser McPherson. I do like that name. Coming from a competitor, Gabriel Kirtley. As we got these cars, just a little bit of a love touch between 3 cars there, causing the car on the end there on Black Lane, Robert Whitaker's car, to come off. But it was a gentle come off. Not hardly seen here at Lanes Raceway, as most often you see aggressive come-offs when it comes to this circle track. And when I mean aggressive, I'm talking about they hit this booth over here aggressive. Keep an eye on Guillermo there and Bruce. Dalton back in on red for this lane. Next up, who's on deck? But the Bruiser himself, Bo McPherson, he'll be coming in this next lap, or this next heat. Jay Latham and Randy Kirtley, like I said, keep an eye on these guys. As you can see, Jay Latham out in the lead right now, 13, 14 laps. Currently in the lead of everyone turning laps so far. Randy Kirtley short there behind him. Also, Bruce and Guillermo still battling up top in the lead with their current best lap of 1.876 from Guillermo, 1.928 of Bruce Bullington. Robert Whitaker showing an impressive best lap of 1.879 there on Black Lane. But Guillermo, the guy to see there on yellow right now, currently churning out those numbers alongside Bruce. Bruce trying to fend off Guillermo any way that he can, as all these guys are really racing with a heart and trying to do everything they can. We see Bruce's car really hooked up there on orange, as he's just smoothly going around that orange track, just gaining time on everybody, it seems, except for Guillermo, as he makes a really good aggressive move there on orange, not actually causing that wreck, but what a smooth move that was for Bruce there on orange going around the high banks. I believe that to be Connor there helping out, track marshaling, as he's setting out, him and Bo McPherson. So they believe that Sam didn't get his lap. He's going to go behind the lap counter. Like I said, we do have the breakout set here at 1.1 second. If he didn't get the lap, he'll get it. But if he did get the lap, he's going to break out, and he lost that whole section of the track. So, don't try to cheat, basically, is what I'm saying at Lanes Raceway, because you'll get caught, and then you'll lose half a track, and that's even worse than the wreck that took place. As we see a car falling all the way to the bottom there, a couple red cars out here tonight. That could possibly be Dalton's car. It's Robert Whitaker's, I believe. So Robert Whitaker getting his car put back there on black lane. Connor, very impressed with him tonight and the showing that he's brought. For being off as long as he has, he's really making a stab at things, really trying to push his way into that third position if he can. Bruce Bullington still trying to get those 3 or so laps that's needed, but staying competitive on a higher lane, that's always hard to do, and he is doing just that. Bruce Bullington, as it shapes up currently, as long as he keeps that car in line and on the track, it's looking like another race victory for Bruce. Guillermo currently coming up the hill when it comes to his lane changes. Of course, you can't fight how many feet you got to roll. That's why I'm just trying to stay ahead of the game and understand where people are located. I'm not saying that Guillermo's not going to win this because he's in first place, but I'm saying he's heading up now. So every lane change that he does from here on out, he's going to get longer and longer. Whereas Bruce is actually on his down, or well, no, Bruce is on his way up. I'm sorry. Forgive me for that. They're both on their way up. So Bruce will get probably one more heat to where that he's not going to be in the long lanes. But Bruce will be going to white lane next. So you'll start seeing him slow down on the laps a little bit. But like I said, that's where Jay and Randy, they're going to be moving up and to the shorter lanes by the time it's all said and done. And Jay Latham's car really moving well too. Him and Robert Whitaker almost running identically there with 1.9s. Only other people running 1.9s there is Bruce and Guillermo currently, as all these cars here, like I said, running very competitively. Gerald Suttle with the most laps turned currently with 56, tied with Guillermo and Bruce both. So like I said, the competition has increased so much here, and the reliability of these racers has also increased so much that we see these guys literally fighting within just a couple laps of each other. I still, to myself, cannot believe the progression of these guys since day one. I remember day one, it was all over the place. Some guys had 30 laps, some guys had 20, some 50, 60 per each turn. People were tearing gears up every heat. I mean, it was great for Lanes Raceway. We were making a lot of money at the beginning. People stripping gears left and right. But now these guys, they're keeping their cars under control and being more consistent, and it is something. As we see Bo McPherson there in the top left of your corner just snag his car. He's ready to get back out there, ladies and gentlemen. He's ready to prove all the haters wrong. We'll see how it works out for him. Currently, Guillermo with 61.2 average laps, followed by Bruce Bullington with 60.7. Sam Nelson with 54.5, currently in third place. We see some guys down there in the lower bits. Bo McPherson there, 58.8. Jay Latham with 58.2. Randy Curley with a little bit slower car. He might be wanting him a new motor. But we'll see as he's going down to nothing but the lower lanes here now. Also with Jay Latham, he's going to be in mid lane, and then he's going to have nothing but some low lanes left to go. So we'll see how things shape up. I will say that you're going to see Jay Latham and Randy Kirtley's average times go up from here on out. Also, Bo McPherson going to stay somewhere relatively to the same, most likely, unless he can keep his car on and not have a repeat of what he had before. But we'll still yet to see. We're excited, nipping at the bit, as they all have cars worthy of a win tonight. We'll see who wins. As we head to the oval, Cam, just to see how the spirit is of everybody out here. Everybody's happy, jolly, moving around, working on their cars. See Dalton there, new guy, come in with Sam, eager to race. Going back and maybe check on his car. We see Jay Latham also working diligently on his car as usual, getting him a little bit of a specialty drink that we sell here at Lanes Raceway. Now, I couldn't tell. It's a little bit of a distance here, but I believe that might be a dang peach pop. Literally, that's the company's name. Seems like it was pretty strong, possibly. Maybe he swallowed it down the wrong windpipe. I don't know. Might need to call for medical attention if he keeps coughing. So he gets his car ready. We see the man of the hour there at the start-finish line, putting his car on white, gripping out, trying to go for as much as he can this last heat before he comes off and sets out for a couple. And then he'll, of course, finish up on red lane for the final heat. So we're hoping for Bruce to keep his consistency up, as we got 1 second left before we go. Head back over to the live stream here. And we're back green racing. As we see Guillermo turning 3 laps right out of the gate. Also Jay Latham. Randy Kirtley, though, turning his 4. Almost identical with one another, as if they're right there with each other. They're all in a cluster, it seems to be, with each other there on Dead Man's Zone there. What are we looking at here? Bo McPherson looks like he might have had his car hooked up wrong or something. Maybe, or didn't have his car hooked up at all. I don't know. Wasn't really paying attention as he came back in. But here we go. So I believe maybe they might have started the race without him. But Bo's in there now as he's turned a consecutive 2 laps there, and he's heading his way back up now as he's going to be coming back down the field. Of course, after red, he goes to green, green to blue, blue to purple, purple to black. That's how things work. So we're going to start seeing his name flying up there a little bit. Oh, as Bo McPherson and Bruce Bullington get into each other, as Bo's car now a little bit cooler than Bruce's, as Bruce has been running every heat for quite some time. So Bo was able to reel him in there a little bit and give him just a little bit of a love touch. Bruce Bullington with 9 laps. Guillermo currently turning 12. I'm hoping we're not having the same issue we was the other night. I'm going to focus a little bit on Bruce, making sure he gets his laps. Just currently, the past week, recently rewire nutted and stripped out some wire for the white lane to make sure that it was connecting good, as we had a broke wire. So we see Bruce getting 2 laps, 3 laps. Oh, wait, did he get that 3rd lap? Yeah, okay. So it looks like White is getting the laps counted. I don't know why Bruce is so far off the pace there, as maybe he was involved in a couple of the incidents, maybe. I might actually review this 7th round when I go to the house. Definitely going to keep my eye on it. So everything looks up and up right now. Okay, good. We see see Bo turning 17 laps as he increases his speed to try to catch some people down on the lower lanes. They're running pretty equal there with Dalton. Looks like he's just wanting to stay consistent and keep those laps up as good as he can. Going to get as he makes it through that wreck as Dalton comes flying over top of him there. Whether or not he was trying to make a little bit more of a push possibly or something of that nature. But really trying to inch up in front of Bo the best that he possibly could. With the 2.18 median time right there with Bruce, as you can look, with the 2.15 on White. That's about as competitive as you can get there, as Bruce should be just a hair bit faster median time than Bo. So Bo really does have a screamer of a mobile there on his hands. So does Jay Latham there, turning a 1.93 there on purple lane. Randy Kirtley's car is somewhat falling off tonight as we see him running a 2.03, which is comparable to Guillermo, but I've seen his car run better. Let's put it that way. "17 seconds left in this heat, and then we'll get to do some comparisons on red lane. That's where I like to compare red lane and black lane. If we can compare those two lanes, we can see the top of the top and the bottom of the bottom for the most part. The middle lanes, they all relatively run about the same way, but it's just easier to go to the most extremes. The slowest part of the lanes and, of course, the fastest part of the lanes. But I'm excited to see here as we switch over immediately to TrackMate. That's how excited I am. And we take a look here. So Guillermo ran 57 laps, which is a top contender. Jay Latham, 57 laps. Bo turning 38 laps. Somewhat of an issue happening there on red lane. That is definitely going to be a quencher for him. Not what he wants to see, is that's going to lower his average quite substantially. But he might be able to make that up on the lower lanes. It's yet to be seen. But we can see that Jay Latham here turning impressive times on white and red, and those are the ones that you really want to turn those impressive times on. It's still yet to be seen what Guillermo can turn on white, but if he turns 57, you might be seeing Jay Latham climb up to second or first place before this is all said and done. Also, Randy Kirtley there within the mix too with 55 on red, 53 on white. But Jay's got him covered in taxes there for sure. So you might see him maybe possibly moving up to a third position as these lane rotations rotate and we start seeing people fall out of the race. 1 minute and 44 seconds. I'm going to take a small break as I leave you guys with the full oval camera to watch them work. All right, I just had a little bit of a conversation there with Glenn Burton. He recently went to one of Mid-America's racetracks and did a little bit of racing. And he raced him some wing cars while he was down there. Of course, Glenn just recently got him a wing car here we're having us a big wing car race, or I'm trying to make it a big wing car race if people will show up for the Group F wing car class the 17th of December. So if you have a Group F style or even somewhat similar to it, I mean, we're within reason. As long as you're running an Eagle motor or an FK 4002, somewhere around those operating RPMs, come on down and race with us. We just race for fun anyway. So Gabriel Kirtley says Jay is the sleeper here, and that is true. People are not noticing that Jay has got nothing but low lanes left pretty much, and maybe a mid lane to go as we round down our last 3 hits. Jay is definitely the sleeper in this matter. As we see him now turning 11 laps, he's got nothing but low daddies left to go. Bo kind of got himself out of contention there with such a low amount of laps turned there on red. But nonetheless, he will still be high up on the charts when it's all said and done. And I was really rooting for Bo because I really wanted him to get that win. But maybe next time, you know. I know he's gotten a whole lot better now that he's gotten his car into shape. It's not the usual Bo. I think we can all agree with that, as we've seen Bo really start to mature a little bit behind the GRC here with his new setup. Guillermo, comes in every once in a while and gives a little competition to the game. We see him still holding on to that victory, but this will be his last heat. He'll only be able to run one more heat, and I believe he'll come in on red, when that's said and done after this heat. See, he goes off on white, and he has to set out 2. So, no, this will be his last heat. So this will give us a total lap count to dictate between the two to see whether or not he's going to be passed or he's going to hold down that victory. With a total laps of 423, it is still up for grabs with 3 heats left remaining. As we see Robert having some issues with his car, he's going to go ahead and resign his car for this heat, he believes. Maybe possibly be able to get it back under contention and be able to get back into this race. As we get a quick yellow flag button press in there by Tom. Tom taking care of the button presses for the yellow flags for this race right now, and been a really good help here at Lanes Raceway. And a good friend of mine, as we pretty much talk to each other every single day as he's down here always working on his cars, trying to get them tuned up. I've changed his name from Slimer to Gorilla Hands because the other day he got him a Pro Brake and went to put it in his car, and he really Gorilla Hands that baby down and shattered all the porcelain and everything. And you hate to see it because those Pro Brakes are not what we like to call cheap in the slot car community. They're around $50 or so, so they're definitely not cheap. As we see this race winding up here, we see a median lap time of Guillermo of 2.14. Now, currently, Bruce is setting out, so he will definitely be back for at least one heat. But on deck right now is Sam Nelson, as he's going to come back in after this. So really the guys to be watching to see how many laps are going to get turned here is either Guillermo or Jay Latham. These are the two that you really want to focus your attention on, as like Gabriel Kirtley said, Jay is definitely the sleeper on this one. And I think Jay is hungry for another win. He got a taste the last week in the Fairview IT Cup Series, and I think that taste is grown into an aggression to a specific point that Jay is so hungry for the wins now, he's going to do anything for it. So we might need to tech him extra close from here on out, as he's got that hunger to succeed. Well, we see him running a very clean black lane. We also seen Bo McPherson running a very clean black lane also. As it's telling me one thing, black lane is hooked up in comparison to what it usually is. That's another thing. Not seeing a whole lot of wrecks coming from black lane. We're actually seeing them coming from upper midfield, coming too aggressively out of the corners, causing them to unseat and actually falling into black lane on the front stretch a lot tonight, or even into the high banks, as you guys have noticed. But just keep, like I said, keep an eye. As we see Jay Latham now turning an impressive 34 laps. Gerald Suttle turning 32 and Randy Kirtley turning 31, tied with Guillermo. So Guillermo starting to feel a little bit of the sweat as we round into 50 seconds left to go in this heat, which will end up in turn putting Guillermo out for the race and giving us a total laps to achieve for. So we get a track call there. Jay Latham, just inching by that car. Sometimes you wonder how those cars even make it by there, but the coast to Jay's car is beautiful. I don't know what else to say, but that thing is freed up. That was a beautiful coast into the high banks there. Connor there fighting for fourth place, and I think we're going to start seeing Connor move his way up. Not been here in a while, but man, he's got that car really tuned in well too, running comparable within 0.2 of a second to the fastest guys on red currently. But just to be back in the game, that is really good as Jay reels in Gerald Suttle there on yellow and makes the clean pass. Going around the high banks, back in it again. Jay Latham kind of leading the pack as we get a yellow car and a beautiful coast again from Jay Latham's orange car. Jay Latham first out to roll, really hitting it hard. Reeling him in another one there on orange, Robert Whitaker, as he makes the pass. So Robert's back in the game. We see Jay Latham just pretty much clipping the whole pack there on black. When you're on black, that is so satisfying to take a group like that. If you're a slot car racer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're on that black lane and you just group everybody and you just go past them and you get that lap, and then you reel it in again, or immediately after a big wreck takes place and you get another free lap. There's nothing really better in slot car racing than just getting those laps tallied up. As we see Jay getting in somewhat of a cluster here and someone holding him up. Randy Kirtley on purple kind of held him up there just a little bit. And then we see Jay Latham coming off. So he's got some reeling in to do to reel Randy in. Randy there currently with 58 total laps. But we see Jay Latham with that 62 laps outlier. Jay Latham really cranking those laps on black as we get a lane rotation into our round robin heat 9. And Guillermo's going to come out. And we're going to take a look at the track mate here as we see Guillermo with 471 laps. Going to go out there real quick and have a little bit of a conversation with him. So Guillermo, I see you got your sticker placed here. After Guillermo, wherever you end up finishing in the race, make sure you lay your sticker down because we're going to go back to that because it could come down to the wire here. But I got to know, Guillermo, do you think that 471 is going to be able to hold off the push that Jay's bringing?
I think it would. Let's see.
So you heard Guillermo. He's confident in saying that he's going to be able to hold off Jay. But I got to know from Jay here, the man that is bloodthirsty these past couple of weeks with his freed up cars. He's took down one giant, Gabriel Kirtley. Jay, I got to know, man, are you going to be able to reel in Guillermo in these last couple of heats?
I don't think I got it. I don't think I got it in me.
You don't think you got it in you? All right. Well, Connor says he's got it in him. Well, he's got 2 heats to make that those few laps up. We'll see what can happen. Like I said, he's got him a sleeper mobile, but Guillermo, he is confident in taking that victory home. We'll see. I got to tally up all the laps. That's the important part, everybody. This is a dual GRC, so make sure you leave your sticker because the justification comes by this. If there is a tie lap-wise, I'm going to where your sticker is. If you don't have a sticker,
The race starts in 1 minute.
there's no ties. If there is 3 or 4 people that are supposed to be starting, and they're all fighting for 3rd place, by Lanes Raceway, don't get track money. So, or we can split it 3 ways, either way. But leave your sticker there.
Race starts in 40 seconds.
What do you got there, Glenn?
That's Eddie's car. My son got that up in Illinois at the track we run in over Saturday.
That looks like a car that Eddie would love to drive. Skull.
He liked her against, so that's what we got him.
Well, that was a very nice looking body. I have to say, might need to try to find some of those for Lanes Raceway. I'm going to put it on the live stream for the race and take a quick break as these guys are getting ready to go green. Alicia, I see that. I agree with Connor also. Jay is definitely a sleeper here. As I return, here at Lanes Raceway, on every single table, if you've noticed, we have been supplied by a racer. You may know him by the name of hang on one second. I'm having an issue here. Huh. All right, I think I might be having a monitor go out over here. But anyways, if you look on every one of our tables here, you will notice that we have a beautiful supply of hand sanitizer here at Lanes Raceway by one of our fellow racers here, Bruce Bullington. Bruce Bullington supplied us with a bunch of hand sanitizers. And as you guys know, slot car racing is a winter type sporting event. So you have no excuse to keep them hands clean, okay? Not to mention, I am not what you like to call a free the world kind of activist or something like that. Like, I use paper towels. Like, I cannot stand to have my hands blowed on by a blow dryer. Cannot stand it. I don't like the noise, nor do I like the way that that feels on me. So I use paper towels even inside of each one of our bathrooms. I got soap, I got hand sanitizer, all that stuff here at Lanes Raceway. Let's keep them hands clean because none of us like to feel sick. None of us like to be sick. and that is the best way to keep yourself from getting sick. Now, I don't make you wear masks here or nothing like that, but nonetheless, just keep your hands clean. Let's be civil about this, and you know, we're all touching something here. We're touching cars, we're touching controllers. It's flu season, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to get sick, nor can I afford it, as I'm here running this slot car track pretty much every day. So anybody that has to be somewhere every day, you would know that it is very, very inconvenient to be sick when you have to be somewhere. So please, let's look out for each other. Wash your hands. Plenty of paper towels, plenty of hand sanitizer here. The guys care so much about staying cleanly here. We mop, sweep the floor every single day. We clean every one of the pinball tables every day, wipe them down. I mean, I literally hand sanitize every one of the buttons. So please, please, as Ed House says, we're touching hearts here. Look, every single one of us want to go home not sick. So please just check yourself, you know. Anyways, as we see the round robin 9 hitting here, thank you for that love heart. I see it floating across the screen. I'm guessing that heart that just got touched was from Ed Howe. Appreciate that, Ed. We see 15 seconds left to go in this round robin 9th heat. And would you looky there, Jay Latham up on top, 397. But not to be too counting the chickens before we hatch. We still have one more heat left to go. Jay is currently on the top here because we are not seeing the track mate information yet. That will come after the race is over, and that'll let you know that I believe he has 470-something laps, Guillermo Sire. So that is what we have to push for here. So it's going to be close. Connor there in second place with 386. Randy Kirtley really pushing it home as he takes over Connor there right then on Black Lane. Gerald Suttle probably fixing to put Connor down a little bit also, as he's got 54 total laps and a shorter median time. Bo McPherson with 383 trying to get his way up with 53, as we did get the red flag called, but we still have 2 seconds left to go in this heat. And there's our 2 seconds as Jay turned an even 60 laps there. Randy Kirtley coming for the throw to Jay Latham. Let's take a quick look at the track mate as we can get a little bit closer of an understanding of what's going on here. We see Guillermo there with 58.9 average laps. It's going to be hard this late in the game to get almost a full average lap ahead. So you are probably currently looking at your finishing standing, with Jay Latham having a lower lane than Bruce, being able to possibly inch Bruce out this last lane rotation. Randy Kirtley being a little bit lower on the field, you might see a little bit of movement there as he's being able to turn a little bit lower lane than Jay Latham. So something to look out after. We also see Bo McPherson there. Maybe make possibly a lead change between him and Connor as he's on purple lane. I think he's out of the range of Randy Kirtley, to be honest, as he's had a few heats there. Bo has in the lower sections there of 38 laps there. Really was a killer for Bo. 1 minute and 43 seconds left to go. We're going to roll on over back to the oval cam so you guys can take a peek, watching these guys work, getting their cars back out there. Very, very important to leave your sticker. Just a reminder, if you come off and you're, who's the person that come off this last heat?
Robert come off, his car's all bent up.
Okay. Just make sure that the sticker is where his car was last.
Well, it was right over there in front of the white control.
Okay. And after the race, just leave your car where it sits. Don't take it up off the track, because I'm going to tally up the laps and we'll see who our winner is going to be. So just giving a reminder here, I'm in the booth right now. You can't see it happening, but I'm here with Bo McPherson. Bo, that red lane really hurt you, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty bad.
So what was going on with the car on that red lane? Did you just start late, or what was going on?
My gear ratio, my gear was like off, like almost completely off. And so I tightened it back down and it's still not right. So
maybe in between heats, you forgot just to tighten it up. Is that what took place?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, you know, those things happen. But that thing, when it was humming, that dude was a hummer, was it not?
Yeah, now the motor's burned up in it.
You just burn up on you? Man, you hate to see it. It did get hot. I remember when you was running out here when you first put that dude in, that dude did get pretty scorching.
You should smell it.
He said, I should smell it. 4 seconds left before we go back live. We're going to hit up the live stream here. Jay has to worry about Dad now. Purple killed Jay. Yes, it did. And that's why I was saying Dad's after that throat. He's ready to claim another victim, it seems. Jay being able to turn a quick lap there, but Randy right on his heels. All righty, as we head back into it, Jay, like I said, 3 laps, Randy Kirtley 4. Those medians are looking pretty close to each other currently. But like I said, Randy is really wanting to reel Jay in. Will Jay be able to fend him off for these last few laps? As we get a full speed come apart, everybody, every single person for the first time at Lanes Raceway completely knocked off here. What a clippable moment here. So I'll tell you what, I've never seen this not one time in my life, but I've seen it today. Every single car involved in this incident at 1 minute and 41 seconds left to go. These guys are so thirsty to get up on that leaderboard that they're willing to wreck every single car. I ain't ever seen nothing like it. Jay Latham, Randy Hurley, probably 2, Bruce Bullington. All 3 of these guys probably wanting to be behind the line, so you might as well just put everybody behind the line. As bad as that was, I have never seen such a debacle in my life. And, you know, when you go to the races, you kind of secretively wish there's a wreck every time you go. But, man, this did not disappoint, as that is probably the best wreck I've ever seen. Ed, I would have to say the same. I would expect that same wreck on the other end also. But, man, we do a little bit of modifications to the track, make it a little bit quicker as we can tell tonight. These median times are quickening up. And we can see these people being a little bit quicker. It seems like now maybe the dead man's corner might be the crook of the track, as we already get a breakout for Randy Kirtley and a busting hard hit there off dead man's corner about taking Guillermo Sauer out. Glenn Burden helping with that car on purple there real quick. As we go back green, we see Jay Latham there, turn 11 laps. Randy Kirtley out just in the edge of him there for 13 laps. But Connor turning 14. Bo McPherson also turning 14 laps. Like I said, Bo's car running strong tonight. Just had a gear issue on the red lane. And, you know, you always hate to hear it when people have a little bit of bad luck. A short shunt there by Dalton to let people go by. He probably didn't want to see everybody off the track again. But what a great wreck. I'm definitely, whenever I leave here tonight, I'm going home and I'm checking that wreck out again. I'm going to have to put that dude in slow-mo. See you, buddy. As we see Jay Latham there, still turning 18 laps, fending off Randy. Randy actually losing to Connor. Connor being pushing Randy out, something you don't hardly see. Connor coming back from taking a hiatus from racing here at Lanes Raceway, straight coming back to place a 3rd place here at Lanes Raceway, it looks. Maybe possibly a 4th, depending when we get Guillermo Sauer's lap numbers involved. But nonetheless, a 4th respectable position for sure after such a long hiatus. So I just don't know, with all the craziness that's taking place right now, I think Guillermo was safe to say that he was able to collect that lead for sure tonight, as I believe he was in the 470s. So I don't believe that's obtainable within a minute and 17 seconds. So we could probably go ahead with a safe assumption and give that over to Guillermo Sauer for the win. As Jay Latham's caught up in a wreck there, involved with several people, as Gerald was trying to get that car while he was driving his car to put it back on there for Jay. Gabriel Kirtley saying, Connor doing well since he is a beginner, and that is true. He does really well for being the least amount of time I've seen him on this racetrack. He's raced IndyCar a few times here, but for the most part, haven't seen him since pretty much opening week or so, a little bit after that. But he's doing really, really well. As we see Jay Latham involved in another incident and a hard hit. I don't know who that was that hit so hard, but a really aggressive hard hit down there on Dead Man's Corner. Bruce Bullington and Jay Latham, I almost think they team up together to build their cars. Look at that, 432 laps, 26 laps turned. These guys are running the same car. And you know, Connor's not too far behind either. So you know all these guys are getting together and they're brainstorming. They should start their own race team. Maybe we should start race teams here at Lanes Raceway and have like an entry fee for race teams. Let these guys have a couple Le Mans races or something. With several cars off yet again there. First person's name I heard when the incident took place was, of course, Bo. I think I'm not the only one that heard that. But Bo, he loves the driver deep, ladies and gentlemen. We got another cluster up here. This is spelling disaster, maybe another full pack wipeout as we get a car, wildly coming off in the center of the track there. I believe that to be Sam Nelson's car. Thank you for that laugh emoji twice in a row. Maybe you're still laughing about Bo. I don't know. Maybe you're laughing about me. But appreciate it nonetheless. These guys really are entertaining as they keep getting better and better. These races keep getting tighter and tighter. So when this race is over with, and take a quick snapshot, we're going to tally up all these scores. I told the guys leave their cars where they're at. We need to know that for sure. As we round into the last 40 seconds of this heat, we see Guillermo there trying to get a car back on. It comes completely off the track. So we'll get these, like I said, tallied up and make sure that the winners are who the winners are. Is Randy Kirtley, of course, going to be shooting out for those wins. Also Bruce, as they both ran decently. I think Randy actually took the win on the orange track, so that's going to be a real positive for him in this finish. Whew, that scared me. I'm not going to lie. My access token just failed. We'll see if we can move that down. I might be able to just restart it real quick. There we go. That was just quicker. Problem solved. Thank you, Gabriel Kirtley of Fairview IT Management, for all your hard, diligent work here for this streaming PC to work. Things working like a dime now. Perfect. As we see Randy Kirtley now taking that third place back from Connor, pushing back up the leaderboards there, really fighting, getting that back and forth one lap between the two. Just both of them really fighting for that. As their median lap times are relatively the same, it's hard to say at the end of this, but it looks like Connor now going down 2 laps in comparison. But if I was Connor, I would feel really, really happy right now as I'm racing with one of the best people here at Lanes Raceway, Randy Kirtley, and neck and neck with him at that. So that is definitely saying something for sure, because I know Dad, he just ended up finishing working on some front tires earlier today for his GRC, so he does take it serious. He doesn't come in here and just throw on a random car on the track. He tries to free it up, oil it up, keep it nice and lubed. So, you know, Connor needs to take a lot of respect from that. I feel like he needs to take confidence in knowing that, hey, I can run with the best here, and let that push him even further. As if you look at it, really, I mean, you look all the way down, all these guys relatively close together running against the top. I mean, the difference is just 10, maybe 20 laps difference from top to bottom. So, you know, Jay Latham there, of course, outlined in first place with 460. But what I'm saying, from like Randy Kirtley down, we're looking relatively within just a couple of laps of one another. It just shows you the maturity of this racetrack so far, of how close these guys are running competitively. These, and it also tells you that we don't have any people out here really cheating. That we got these guys coming in, bringing what they brought, just giving it what they can give, and it all boils down to, did I get in wrecks? Was it an issue of my rhythm? But those are the real issues of what makes a winner and what makes someone that doesn't. As we finish this race, please leave your cars where they're at. As we finish this race, going to take a quick break to add up these laps. You see the laps for the circle track here. Going to add those up with the orange track, and then we'll be right back with you and let you know who's won. All right, so we had a tie lap times with Bruce and Gerald. So 1 foot was the difference between Bruce and Gerald, and Bruce will take it. So our first, second, and third. First place, Guillermo with 673 laps. Second place, Jay, 668. Third place, Randy Kirtley with 667. 646 laps goes to Gerald. A foot behind him goes to Bruce. And that's your top 5. Huh? Top 5 is Guillermo, Jay, Randy, Gerald, and Bruce. You did good, though. You was racing there with Dad on that circle track. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to this special little bitty race that we had here. As you see everybody kind of wrapping it up, and we just want to thank yet again Guillermo for coming down, making us a special little trigger controller for the tracks to help the track marshals out. They need as much help as they can get. We also just want to thank everybody that come down and had a good time racing with us, as we had some pretty good competition here, and it was really just something to see. And we appreciate all you guys tuning in. If you would, please like, subscribe, and share it with all your friends and family and even your enemies. So just remember, we're on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So please just come and view us and share us to your friends, and we'll see you next time.